What if I told you that the reality you experience is not a fixed entity, but a malleable creation waiting for you to consciously take control? What if the power to shape your entire existence has been within you all along, yet obscured by a veil of societal programming? This isn't some far-fetched fantasy, but a hidden truth known by those who have dared to explore beyond the limitations of conventional thinking. This knowledge, kept from the masses, is the key to unlocking a life of true freedom and personal power. To remain unaware is to live in quiet desperation, a prisoner in a reality not of your making, but one dictated by limiting beliefs and the status quo. The concept of a chosen one often conjures images of special individuals with unique abilities, revered throughout history, from ancient mystics to spiritual leaders. However, the reality is far more profound and accessible. These chosen ones simply tapped into the fundamental principles that govern reality, a power available to every single one of us. What if I were to tell you that the ability to alter your experiences is not limited to a select few, but is a potential inherent in human existence? The key to this is realizing that the world we see is not fixed and absolute, but a projection, a movie screen reflecting our inner programming. This inner program, comprised of our deepest beliefs and intentions, dictates what plays out on the screen of our experience. But here's the twist. If the program is faulty, the picture will be too. There's a narrative that suggests that this fundamental understanding of reality has been intentionally obscured from the general population, a secret that certain groups or elites have been attempting to keep from you, so that they can maintain control. Now, that's not to say that there are hidden groups of individuals that are running the show, but rather, it is a manifestation of limited beliefs, negative intentions, and a lack of awareness that are collectively held by the masses. The implications of this understanding are enormous. It means the difference between living a life of passive acceptance and one of conscious creation, between being at the whim of external forces and taking the reins of your own destiny. This is not simply about manifesting material possessions, but about shaping the core of your experience by actively choosing your emotions, reactions, and circumstances. This knowledge isn't just some interesting tidbit, but a pivotal understanding that can fundamentally change everything about the way you live and interact with the world. The principles at play here go far beyond simply positive thinking or a mindset hack, but delve into the nature of reality itself. Consider the placebo effect, where a person's belief in a treatment, even if it's a sugar pill, can trigger real and tangible changes in their body. This demonstrates, in a very real way, that the mind does indeed hold power over the physical. Your beliefs, emotions, and the focus of your attention act as a kind of programming language, constantly shaping your personal experiences, often without your conscious awareness. It is with this understanding that the power of the chosen one is not a mystical gift, but rather a skill that anyone can develop through understanding these core principles. This interconnected dance between our inner and outer worlds means that you can become a conscious creator of your reality and not simply a passive receiver. The patterns that you find in your life, whether they are positive or negative, are reflections of your internal programming. These recurring patterns are not random events, but manifestations of beliefs, both conscious and unconscious. Now, imagine a life where you could identify, alter, and even transcend these patterns by changing the very program that they stem from. So, what if I told you that the concept of free will, as it has been traditionally understood, is actually a veiled form of programmed destiny? What if the feeling of being at the whim of fate is actually the result of unconscious programming that is limiting your perceived capabilities? What if coincidences were not random occurrences, but rather subtle nudges revealing an alignment with the underlying principles of the universe? What if you were, in fact, already creating your reality without even being aware of the mechanics behind it? The path to this power lies not in some secret society or hidden knowledge, but in understanding the true nature of your own mind and your place within the grand fabric of existence. This journey isn't just an intellectual exercise, but a profound exploration into the depths of your own potential. There are specific techniques and exercises that can be used to take control of your reality that will be explored further, so that you may realize the true power that lies dormant within you. So, let's delve deeper into this idea of a programmed destiny and explore why so many of us feel like we're at the mercy of external forces, living a life that feels like it is not our own. Why do so many people feel trapped in unsatisfying jobs, unfulfilling relationships, and tedious routines? It's as if life is happening to them rather than through them, and this is because of a widely held narrative that places them in a position of victimhood. This perspective subtly strips away personal agency and gives all the power to external circumstances rather than to their own internal compass. But what if this victimhood was not a reflection of an objective reality, but rather a self-imposed limitation created by deeply rooted, often unconscious beliefs? Consider for a moment that the feeling of being a victim is, in itself, a program. It's a lens through which one sees the world, and this lens will always filter out any information that does not support its perspective. It's a feedback loop that keeps people trapped in a cycle of low expectations and negative thought patterns, where they are constantly seeking validation and power outside of themselves, creating a self-made prison, not a reflection of an inescapable reality. This is a narrative that society has subtly pushed onto the individual through a variety of methods to keep them compliant and unconscious. It's not just personal beliefs that contribute to this feeling of powerlessness. It's also the systems that we live in, the media we consume, and the cultural narratives that are constantly reinforcing the idea that we are not in control. Take a moment to reflect on how much of what you see on the news or social media dictates how you see yourself and your place in the world. Are you being presented with ideas that empower you, or are you being conditioned to feel fear, insecurity, and a sense of lack? The status quo isn't some invisible force, but rather a collective agreement on how reality is supposed to be, and most people unconsciously subscribe to this idea. This external locus of control is designed to keep you from recognizing your own power by subtly convincing you that you are not the author of your own experience, and that your life is dictated by something or someone else. But here's the question: is this an accurate reflection of reality, or just a carefully constructed illusion? If we go back to the metaphor of the dream of reality, then is this feeling of powerlessness simply a construct within that dream that we have unconsciously agreed to? This understanding that the feeling of being a victim is a construct is the first step in taking back control. Now, let's take a look at the emotional consequences of believing that you are powerless. Think about the frustration, the anxiety, and the general feeling of hopelessness that comes with the idea that you have no say in your own life. Many individuals simply do not know where to focus their attention and find themselves stuck in repetitive loops of negative circumstances. It's as if they're a character in a story they didn't write, forced to play a role they never chose. Perhaps you can relate to the feeling of wanting more, or a desire to break free from these repeating patterns, yet a belief that things will never change. What if this feeling of stagnation was not some curse, but merely a consequence of the stories that you keep telling yourself and the lack of direction that this creates? Are these recurring cycles of negativity in your life just random occurrences, or are they a reflection of your internal programming, the program that is creating your personal reality? It's important to understand that this perspective, this feeling of being a victim, is not only emotionally draining, but also a major block to creating the kind of reality that you truly desire. This is a matter of urgency. It's about reclaiming the power that has always been yours and using it to actively create a life of fulfillment and joy. But what if I told you that this feeling of powerlessness is not a true limitation, but a result of a lack of understanding, like a pilot who doesn't know how to use the controls of the plane? You might feel that you are at the mercy of turbulence, the weather, or other external factors, but ultimately, You are the one in the cockpit, and you have the power to steer your course. True freedom doesn't come from changing the external circumstances, but rather from changing your relationship to them, from realizing that you are not a victim, but the conscious creator of your own experience. It is about taking responsibility, not for what has happened to you, but for your response to those circumstances, recognizing that your reactions shape your reality, not external factors alone. This isn't about blaming yourself, but rather about empowering yourself to consciously choose how you engage with the world. It's about shifting from a position of victimhood to one of accountability, and finally, to a position of power, laying the foundation for change. So, what does this mean about those chosen ones we spoke about earlier? Let's now re-examine the traditional idea of a chosen one. The idea that some individuals are inherently different, or that they possess some special ability that is not available to others. We often see these individuals as mystics, spiritual leaders, and historical figures who seem to defy the limits of the ordinary. We might think of the Buddha with his profound wisdom, or Jesus with his seemingly miraculous abilities, or any number of contemporary teachers who appear to have a unique grasp on the nature of reality. Cultural narratives often position these individuals as chosen by some divine force, or that they have special gifts that are not present in the average individual. This reinforces the idea that most people are simply not capable of similar feats, which is why most feel like they are not in control of their reality. But here is the question: is this an accurate interpretation, or just another example of an external locus of control, where the power is seen as residing outside of oneself? What if the secret is not that they are special, but rather that they understood the universal principles that govern reality? It's easy to view these individuals with a sense of awe, believing them to be on some higher level of consciousness, but perhaps this is a misinterpretation, a veil to hide a more fundamental truth. This perspective inadvertently keeps the idea of the chosen one as a select few, rather than something that is readily available to all. But here's the twist: these chosen ones were not inherently special. They weren't gifted these abilities from some external force, but rather they understood and applied the universal principles that govern all of reality. They understood the power of focused intention, the impact of deeply held beliefs, and the importance of conscious awareness. These are not mystical gifts, but simply a clear understanding of the mechanics behind reality creation, an understanding that is accessible to everyone. They were just individuals who had discovered the recipe for bending the dream of reality, and that recipe can be learned by anyone. It's about understanding that these principles are natural laws, like gravity or the laws of physics. They apply to everyone, regardless of who they are or where they come from. It's about recognizing that these abilities are not a privilege, but an inherent aspect of human potential that every individual has available to them. And if that's true, then perhaps the chosen one is not a title or a label, but a recognition of one's inner potential, a self-mastery of one's own experience, and an understanding of the power of conscious creation. Now, let's reframe the idea of the chosen one not as an external designation, but as an internal state. That is, every individual has the capability to become their own chosen one. It's not about being selected, but about selecting oneself by choosing to become consciously aware of how their internal world is creating their external reality. The ability to shape reality is not limited to some select group, but it's a potential that is encoded within every human being, waiting to be activated. Consider a seed. It contains the potential to grow into a tree, but it is not a tree until it has grown and developed. In the same way, every human is a seed of potential, waiting for the right conditions to bloom. This awareness changes everything because it means that you are the chosen one. You are the one who holds the power. You are the one who gets to decide what reality will be like. This is not a destiny, but a choice that is made by you, by understanding the mechanics of how you create your individual experience. It is about recognizing that you are not a passive observer in life, but an active co-creator who has the ability to shape reality through conscious intention and belief. This understanding builds upon the previous idea of personal responsibility and highlights the freedom that comes with self-awareness. So, what does it mean to actually take responsibility? To become a chosen one is about taking responsibility for the program that runs your internal world. That is, taking responsibility for your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. It's about consciously choosing to become a master of your own experience, rather than being at the mercy of circumstance. This is a journey of inner transformation, not external validation, a path that requires dedication, self-awareness, and a willingness to question your deepest held beliefs. It's like climbing a mountain. It requires effort, resilience, and a deep commitment to the journey. And while there may be challenges along the way, the rewards are immeasurable, the rewards of knowing that you are actively shaping the very fabric of your existence. This understanding redefines what it means to be a chosen one. It moves it away from a concept that is only for a select few and brings it to the accessibility of the individual. It is a message of empowerment, a call to step into your own potential and recognize the power that you hold within. This leads us to the next pivotal idea, the very nature of reality itself. Is it really as solid and fixed as it seems? So, if we understand that reality is not a fixed entity, but a reflection of our internal world, then what is it that is shaping this internal world? The answer lies within the landscape of our subconscious mind, the hidden realm that governs the vast majority of our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Imagine for a moment that your subconscious mind is a garden, and that the soil of this garden is the foundation of all of your experiences. Within this soil lie your deeply held beliefs, your emotional responses, and your ingrained patterns, the seeds that will grow into the very fruits that you experience in your external world. And what if many of these seeds were planted long ago without your conscious awareness? What if this garden was primarily tended to in your childhood before the age of 7, when your subconscious was most receptive to programming? This programming happened through your parents, your environment, and the narratives that you internalized as a child. These early experiences created the blueprint for how you view yourself, your relationships, and your place in the world, the very program that is creating your reality. By understanding this garden, you can begin to consciously tend to it by planting new seeds and uprooting the weeds that have been holding you back. The understanding that your subconscious is the main driver of your reality isn't meant to be disempowering, but rather it's an invitation to become the conscious gardener of your life, and that by understanding this garden, you can start to actively shape it into something more positive. This understanding shifts the narrative that we are at the mercy of the world to one where we have direct influence over our individual experience. Now, let's delve deeper into these seeds and see how limiting beliefs can act as self-imposed prisons that keep us trapped in repeating patterns. Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, you always seem to end up in the same negative situation with similar results? It might be in a relationship, a job, or even a personal habit that seems impossible to break. These patterns are often rooted in deeply held limiting beliefs, the prisons that you have unknowingly created and then have been living within. Consider the belief, "I'm not good enough." This single belief can act as a filter, constantly scanning for evidence that supports it, creating a reality where you may feel less worthy, less capable, and less deserving of happiness and success. Or perhaps the belief, "I don't deserve love." This can create a dynamic where you subconsciously sabotage any potentially healthy relationships, as you believe at some level that you are not worthy of true connection. These beliefs are like the walls of a prison, and while they are not physically tangible, they are very real in the way that they shape your perceptions and experiences. These self-imposed limitations are the very reason that many people feel stuck in cycles of frustration, because these beliefs subtly influence your choices, your behaviors, and the way that you interact with the world. These are not just abstract thoughts, but rather powerful forces that create your reality, which are often invisible to the conscious mind. It's crucial to understand that it is not external circumstances holding you back, but the prison that you have created within your own mind, and that you hold the power to unlock these doors and step into the freedom of a new experience. This concept further solidifies the understanding of personal responsibility, that it is not the world doing to you, but rather through you. So how do we know which of these seeds are limiting and which ones are empowering? This is where our emotions come in as a feedback mechanism, your internal guidance system that lets you know how aligned you are with your intentions. Think of your emotions as an internal compass that is constantly pointing towards the direction you're heading. When you experience negative emotions, such as frustration, anger, anxiety, or sadness, these are signals that you are holding onto limiting beliefs or intentions that are not aligned with your true desires. These feelings aren't to be seen as something to be avoided, but rather as valuable feedback that is letting you know you are not in alignment. For example, if you feel a sense of dread when thinking about a particular goal, this is a clear sign that there's an underlying belief that is holding you back, a hidden program that is not in alignment with your conscious intention. Conversely, when you feel positive emotions, such as joy, excitement, love, and gratitude, these are indicators that you are on the right path, in alignment with your true potential, and that your program is working to your advantage. These positive emotions act as a green light, letting you know to continue on the same path. By paying attention to these emotional responses, you can gain clarity on what beliefs you are holding and which seeds need to be tended to. It's an internal system that is constantly providing us feedback, which we can use to consciously create a more fulfilling reality. It is not about suppressing negative emotions, but rather acknowledging them, understanding the messages that they carry, and then making the required changes. If these are internal feedback mechanisms, then how do we begin to consciously reprogram them? This brings us to the framework of conscious reprogramming, the active process of changing the program of our subconscious mind, which requires intention, focus, and dedication. Now that we understand that our inner landscape is the reflection of our outer experience, it becomes important to actively participate in tending to it. This process is not passive and cannot happen overnight, but it is something that we can learn. It is about consciously choosing to replace the limiting beliefs with empowering ones and aligning your emotional state to match your intentions. This is not just positive thinking, it's about taking active control over the internal narratives that are creating your reality. This process requires self-awareness, that is, the ability to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, understanding what they are telling you and how they are impacting your current situation. This awareness becomes the first step towards changing those patterns. This conscious reprogramming framework builds upon the previous concept of beliefs and provides a tangible method to not only understand their influence, but also to actively transform them into something more positive and aligned. It's an active participation in shaping your reality and understanding how to cultivate a more empowering garden within. This understanding opens the door to the art of conscious manifestation, a process of actively creating your desired outcomes and not just hoping for things to change. So, how do we go from understanding to actually creating? And so, if the subconscious mind is the garden, then intention setting is the act of planting very specific seeds with clarity, focus, and precision that will begin to shape the fruits of your reality. Intention setting is not a vague wish or a general desire for something, but a carefully formulated and well-defined purpose. It is about being crystal clear on exactly what you want, why you want it, and how it feels to have it, and it's about creating the seed with the most positive opportunity for growth. This requires you to go beyond a superficial desire and delve into the specific details that create your desired outcome. For example, instead of simply saying, "I want to be happy," consider, What does happiness look like for you? What are the specific details of your happiness? Is it a sense of joy in your relationships, a fulfilling career, or a general feeling of contentment? How does this manifest for you in your daily life? The more specific your intention is, the more effective it will be, the stronger the seed will be. When you formulate your intention, you must also be clear on the why behind the desire. Is it coming from a place of love, of growth, or is it a reaction from a place of lack? This question is critical because it will determine the underlying energy that will fuel the manifestation process. Finally, it is critical to feel the feeling of already having that intention, because this helps you to bring your desire into your current reality. If you can imagine and feel your desire, it becomes that much more real and immediate. Therefore, intention setting is a precise science. It's not just about what you want, but about how clearly you can define that, and it's the first step towards creating your desired reality. This specificity directly impacts the speed and effectiveness of the manifestation process. That is, the clearer the intention, the clearer the results will be. And what is it that truly fuels the manifestation? It's the emotional resonance that acts as a magnet, drawing your desires into your experience, a powerful force that is essential for effective creation. It's not enough to simply think about what you want. You must also feel the emotions that are associated with having it. This emotional resonance creates a vibrational frequency that attracts similar vibrations into your reality. If your intention is to experience a loving relationship, then you need to cultivate the feelings of love, joy, and connection within yourself. If your intention is to experience financial abundance, then you need to feel the emotions of prosperity, gratitude, and freedom, and begin to embody those feelings now, as if they are already your reality. The more vividly you can experience these emotions, the stronger the magnetic pull will be. Use all of your senses to bring this intention into reality. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? How does it taste? How does it feel? This multisensory approach brings the manifestation into sharper focus and makes it feel more real and immediate, thus attracting the desired outcome with more power. It's about embodying the state of having it, not just hopping for it, which shifts the energy of the manifestation from a place of lack to a place of abundance. This approach is what creates the feeling of already having it, which becomes a catalyst to attract similar experiences into your life. This process ties back into our previous conversation about emotions as feedback mechanisms, further reinforcing the idea that our feelings are not passive, but active contributors to our reality. So, now that we have clarity of intention and the emotional resonance, is that enough to bring things into reality? Now, let's be clear. Manifestation is not a passive process of wishful thinking. It requires action aligned with your intention, action that acts as a catalyst to bring your desires into reality. It's not simply about sitting around and waiting for things to happen, but about taking inspired action that is aligned with what you are trying to manifest. This action could be anything from taking a new course, having a difficult conversation, or even just taking a new path that you've been avoiding. The most important aspect of action is that it is inspired by your intention, that it is a step in the direction of your goals, rather than a random activity. You will know if your actions are aligned when they feel joyful, exciting, and when they come from a place of inspiration, rather than a place of obligation. Inspired action is often the missing piece of the puzzle for many. That is, they have the intention and they have the emotional resonance, but they are not taking action. This doesn't mean that you have to hustle and work hard to get what you want. Often, it is the small but aligned actions that make the biggest difference. It's the conversations that feel right, the opportunities that spark your interest, or the path that you are drawn to. These are all indicators of aligned action. This highlights that manifestation is not a one-sided process, but rather a dynamic dance between intention, emotion, and action. This approach moves beyond the concept of simply visualizing and hopping, but highlights the importance of taking responsibility and also demonstrates the importance of taking action that is aligned with your desires. So, what happens when you plant the seed? You give it water, you give it light, and now it's growing. Do you control the process? And this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle in the art of conscious creation, the release of the outcome and the act of surrendering to the unfolding process. This does not mean that you stop caring or that you abandon your goals, but rather that you learn to trust that the universe will unfold in the most beneficial way, beyond what your conscious mind might conceive. It's like planting a seed. You take the necessary actions to prepare the soil, plant the seed, and water it, but you also have to surrender to the natural process of growth and accept that you cannot control every aspect of the process. There will be factors such as weather, soil quality, or even natural occurrences that you cannot control, and this is similar to how manifestation works, which is why the concept of surrender is so important. You have to learn to let go of your attachment to a specific outcome and trust that the universe is working to align your desires in ways that are beyond your understanding to your highest good. This is where patience and faith play a major role, as well as maintaining your emotional state. The need to control can be a major block in the process of manifestation, because that often comes from a place of insecurity and fear that things won't work out the way you want them to, and that you don't have faith in your own ability to create. By releasing the outcome, you allow the universe to bring your desires into reality in ways that you may not have imagined, and that often may be better than your original intention. This creates a balance between intention and surrender, and requires that you trust the unfolding process and have faith that you are being guided. And now, with all of these pieces in place, what can often create an obstruction to your creative power? And now we move into the labyrinth of resistance and how self-sabotage can often occur when there is an internal conflict between your conscious desires and your subconscious beliefs, acting as a major roadblock on your path of creation. Self-sabotage is often an unconscious process, a way that you protect yourself from perceived threats, which are often based on limiting beliefs that you have internalized since your childhood. These perceived threats often stem from a fear of the unknown, a fear of success, or a fear of not being good enough. These fears, while seemingly protective, ultimately create a barrier to your progress, keeping you stuck in old patterns and limited experiences. For example, perhaps you have a deep desire for success, but you also hold a subconscious belief that you are not capable, which will then manifest as procrastination, doubt, or self-destructive behavior, all forms of self-sabotage. The understanding that self-sabotage is a subconscious conflict can create a level of self-compassion, as you understand you are not doing this to yourself, but rather it's a process of protection that you need to address. Recognizing self-sabotaging behaviors is the first step to resolving them, and it often requires a deep level of self-reflection to uncover the hidden beliefs that are running your program. These patterns of self-sabotage are indicators of deeper work that needs to be done. It is a sign that you need to bring light into the shadows and address the internal conflicts that are holding you back. This process requires not self-judgment, but rather self-compassion and a willingness to explore the root causes of your internal conflicts. So how do you resolve these internal conflicts and begin to move into a more empowered state? And this brings us to the concept of healing our inner child, a powerful way to resolve internal conflicts and create a sense of wholeness and alignment. The inner child is the part of you that experienced life in childhood and holds on to the beliefs, emotions, and experiences that you had at that time. When these experiences were traumatic, or when your needs weren't met, it can create lasting patterns that manifest in adulthood as limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging behaviors. For example, if as a child you felt unworthy of love or attention, this can create a pattern where you subconsciously seek out partners who reinforce this belief, or push away love when it is offered to you. This unresolved childhood trauma can create a cycle of limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging behaviors that will be repeated until they are addressed. In order to integrate these parts of yourself, you must first begin by connecting with that inner child and acknowledging the emotions and beliefs that they are holding on to. This could be done through visualization, journaling, or other forms of self-reflection. And through the process of bringing compassion to your inner child, you can begin to heal the wounds of the past. You can tell your inner child that they are safe, that they are loved, and that they are worthy of happiness. This process is not about fixing or changing your past, but about integrating it into your present so that it no longer controls you. It's through this inner child healing that you can begin to create a sense of wholeness and alignment, and shift from the old programs that were created in your childhood to new programs that are aligned with your highest potential. This process is a critical step in resolving internal conflicts and moving towards more conscious creation, that is, to understand the origin of the problem to create the solution. And while these internal conflicts are being resolved, there is often another fear that can hold us back, the fear of success and the unknown. And as you begin to delve deeper into your inner landscape, you may also encounter the fear of success and the fear of the unknown, which often acts as a major obstacle in the path of conscious creation. It's ironic that you might fear the very thing that you have been wanting. However, this fear is more common than many realize. The fear of success can manifest as a fear of not being able to handle the responsibilities that come with it, or perhaps a fear of being judged or ridiculed. Or perhaps you are subconsciously afraid that the success that you are seeking will create a negative change in your current life, and that is why you stay in a self-sabotaging cycle. The fear of the unknown is also a significant obstacle, as it often keeps you from taking the inspired actions that are necessary to achieve your goals. You may feel comfortable in your current situation, even if it's not fulfilling, because at least you know what to expect. But true growth and transformation require us to step outside of our comfort zone and embrace the unknown with courage and faith. This also ties into the inner critic that we discussed earlier, which can act as a major source of this fear by constantly highlighting all the ways that we are not good enough or that we will not succeed, creating a loop that is hard to break. These fears are often rooted in limiting beliefs that you have been holding onto for a long time, and they act to keep you small and contained. However, it's through bringing awareness to these fears and addressing the underlying limiting beliefs that you can begin to overcome them and step into your potential. By recognizing that these fears are not based on reality, but rather on perceptions, you can begin to dismantle them and embrace your full potential. So how do you break free from these fears and move into a state of empowerment? And this is where the concept of resilience becomes critical. That is, your ability to bounce back from setbacks and see challenges as opportunities for growth, which serves as a foundation for your transformation. It's important to understand that the path of conscious creation is not always smooth, and it will require that you face challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt, and that is simply part of the process of growth. Resilience is the inner strength that allows you to keep going even when things get tough, to learn from your mistakes, and to keep moving forward rather than letting these setbacks derail your progress. It's important to not see failures as a reflection of your lack of worth, but rather as a lesson to be learned and integrated into your personal growth. When you approach life with resilience, you view challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to refine your approach, clarify your intentions, and strengthen your resolve. Resilience also goes hand in hand with the need to surrender and detach from the outcome, as we discussed earlier. It's about knowing that setbacks are not a reflection of your inability to manifest, but rather an opportunity to refine your technique. Cultivating self-compassion is also critical because it allows you to approach yourself with kindness and understanding, which allows you to learn from the situation without self-judgment. It's important to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend, and that through self-compassion you can begin to build resilience. True transformation is not a linear process, but a journey that requires both patience and unwavering faith in your potential, while simultaneously understanding that you will have challenges. So, how do we weave all of these elements together into a harmonious whole? So, if resilience is the bedrock upon which we build our capacity to navigate the inevitable challenges of life, then understanding the architecture of our belief systems is how we learn to shape the very fabric of our experiences. What if I told you that the beliefs you hold most deeply are not immutable truths, but rather carefully constructed narratives that have been built over time? These narratives, these beliefs, are like the operating system of your reality, silently dictating your every thought, feeling, and action. From childhood, your experiences, the stories you were told, and the reactions you witnessed all contributed to the creation of this system. Perhaps you grew up hearing that money is hard to come by, and so you may have developed a belief that financial abundance is not attainable for you. Or maybe you were constantly praised for being smart, and you internalized the belief that your worth is tied to your intellect, thus limiting you from creative expression. These early imprints are like the foundation of your program, acting as a blueprint for how you navigate the world and either empowering or limiting your potential. This process is not a one-time event, but a continuous cycle of reinforcement, as your mind actively seeks out experiences that confirm your existing beliefs, creating a self-fulfilling loop, further deepening the grooves of these narratives. The understanding that these beliefs are not fixed, but rather are the result of experiences that have been internalized, opens the door to the possibility of rewriting these programs. Therefore, the first step to take control of your reality is to understand how these programs were created, to fully understand their influence on your experience. Now, let's go deeper into the mechanisms of these reinforcement cycles, because it's not enough to simply identify these limiting beliefs, but rather, you must understand how they become ingrained within your subconscious. Imagine that every belief you hold is like a magnet, attracting experiences that are in alignment with its vibrational frequency. If you hold the belief that you are not worthy of love, you may find yourself unintentionally choosing partners who validate this belief, which could be through emotional unavailability or even mistreatment. Or perhaps you have the belief that the world is dangerous. You may find yourself focusing only on the negative news and experiencing events that confirm your fear and unease. This is confirmation bias, a way that your mind filters the world through the lens of your beliefs, only seeing what validates your existing perspectives. It is not that the world is inherently negative or that you are inherently unworthy of love, but rather that your subconscious is subconsciously seeking out experiences that confirm your existing internal programming, creating a self-perpetuating loop. These cycles are not fixed, but rather are patterns that have been created and therefore can be rewritten. Just like a computer program, if you change the code, you change the output. By becoming aware of these cycles, you can start to intentionally break free from these limiting patterns and start to create new ones that align with your true desires. The key is to understand that you are not a victim of these cycles, but rather an active participant in them. By understanding how these cycles work, you begin to reclaim your personal power and can choose new ways of experiencing your life, and you no longer are beholden to the patterns of your past. So, how do we begin to deconstruct these limiting patterns? And this brings us to the process of deconstructing those limiting beliefs, which is like dismantling the walls of a self-imposed prison, and this journey begins with awareness, but it also requires intention and a willingness to look deeply within. Start by observing your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, noticing the situations where you feel restricted, frustrated, or unworthy. These are clues, these are signals, letting you know which beliefs are in need of reevaluation. When you notice a limiting thought, take a moment to understand where it comes from. You can use journaling prompts, for example, asking yourself, when did I first start believing this? Or, what is the earliest memory that comes up when I think of this belief? which can take you back to the root of its creation. You can also use thought experiments by asking, what if the opposite were true? Or what if I chose to believe something else? Which begins to show you alternative possibilities. Another tool is visualization, where you can imagine a situation where this limiting belief is no longer present. How would you feel? How would you act? By accessing the subconscious, you can trace the origin of these limiting beliefs and begin to understand their impact on your current reality. Often, you might find that these beliefs were formed in childhood, during times when you may not have had the capacity to fully understand the situation or make your own decisions. Recognizing the origins of these beliefs is a key part of liberating yourself from their grasp. It's important to emphasize that these beliefs are not facts, but rather perspectives that were learned and therefore can be unlearned. By understanding their origins, and by understanding their malleable nature, you become empowered to rewrite them. So, if these programs can be rewritten, how do we begin to design a new operating system? Now, let's explore how you can intentionally design your belief system by focusing on creating new perspectives that support your growth and desires. Because if you can deconstruct limiting beliefs, then you can certainly design new ones that are more empowering. This process is not about blindly affirming positive statements, but rather about crafting beliefs that resonate deeply with your authentic self and your highest potential. Start by identifying your most desired aspirations. What kind of life do you want to experience? What kind of person do you want to be? Now, take a moment to consider the beliefs that would be necessary to make this a reality. If you want to live a life filled with joy and abundance, then you must begin by cultivating the belief that you are worthy of these experiences. If you want to live a life of purpose and fulfillment, then you must cultivate the belief that you have unique talents and that the world needs your contributions. You can create affirmations that embody these beliefs and repeat them daily, not as mindless mantras, but as powerful declarations of your intention, ensuring that they are deeply aligned with your true desires. The key is to choose beliefs that align with your vision and that resonate with your authentic self. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," you could choose to believe, "I am capable, I am worthy, and I am constantly growing and learning." This is a conscious choice, a decision to rewrite the code of your reality from a place of empowerment to one that is more aligned with your potential. You are not limited by the beliefs that were taught to you, but rather you are free to choose the beliefs that serve you and to create a reality that reflects your highest aspirations. This understanding is a game changer that shows you the power you hold within your own consciousness. So, how do we work with this subconscious program to put these new beliefs into action? And this brings us to the power of the subconscious mind, the operating system of your reality, the hidden powerhouse that dictates the vast majority of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. What if I told you that most of your daily actions are not a result of conscious choices, but rather of the programs running in your subconscious? Your habits, your emotional responses, and your automatic reactions are all the output of the beliefs that have been ingrained in your subconscious over the course of your life. Think about the habits that you have been trying to break, perhaps a negative self-talk loop or an addiction. These are all indications of the powerful influence of the subconscious mind. It is not enough to understand your limiting beliefs consciously, but rather you have to rewrite the underlying programming that is running the show. This is why conscious efforts may often fail, because the subconscious program is still operating in the background, creating a conflict between conscious desires and subconscious programs. It's as if you're driving a car, consciously deciding to turn right, but the steering wheel is controlled by an autopilot that is still going straight, no matter how hard you turn the wheel. The subconscious is the foundation of the inner landscape, and by understanding it, you gain a deeper understanding of your reality and the patterns that create it. This idea is not meant to be disempowering, but rather an invitation to take an active role in shaping the subconscious mind, to create a system that supports your intentions. This perspective shift is critical in understanding that you have the power to take back the steering wheel of your life by understanding the autopilot of your subconscious. So, how do you begin to communicate with this subconscious mind? Now, let's explore the techniques that will allow you to access and communicate with the subconscious mind. That is, how you can bypass the conscious chatter and speak directly to your inner program. This might seem like an esoteric concept, but it is a skill that can be learned and practiced by anyone willing to explore it. Meditation is one of the primary ways to access your subconscious, by quieting the noise of the conscious mind and allowing your deeper thoughts and feelings to rise to the surface. Through meditation, you can begin to observe the patterns of your thoughts and feelings without judgment, which can show you the nature of your subconscious beliefs. Hypnosis is another way to communicate with the subconscious. By entering a relaxed state, you can bypass the critical filter of the conscious mind and directly influence the beliefs that are stored within. Dream analysis is yet another pathway to the subconscious, where your dreams are often a reflection of your deepest fears and desires. Each dream is like a message, and through careful analysis of your dream symbols, you can begin to uncover hidden aspects of yourself and understand their influence on your life. These techniques are not reserved for the select few, but rather, they are accessible to everyone who is willing to explore their inner landscape. These are all pathways to communicate with the subconscious mind and understand its influence on your reality. By understanding how it works, you begin to take back control of the narrative and create new programs. But it's not enough to just understand. How do we reprogram the subconscious to create positive change? And this brings us to the practical application of reprogramming the subconscious, the act of intentionally rewriting the outdated program and creating new and empowering beliefs and habits. This process is similar to updating software on a computer. You cannot just delete the old code, you must rewrite it with a more effective one. Affirmations, when used with intention, act as a powerful tool to reprogram your subconscious mind. By repeating affirmations daily, you are essentially planting new seeds of empowering beliefs into the soil of your subconscious. But it's important to not just repeat the words, you must feel them as if they are already your reality. Visualization is another powerful tool to reprogram the subconscious by creating vivid mental images of your desired outcomes, and you are essentially creating a blueprint for your subconscious to follow. By using all of your senses to create a multisensory experience, you make it feel more real and immediate, which the subconscious mind responds to. Emotional repatterning is another way to reprogram the subconscious, by understanding and working with your emotions, rather than suppressing them. You must understand that emotions are a form of feedback, and by consciously choosing to cultivate positive and empowering emotions, you are creating new emotional pathways that become the new default settings of your subconscious mind. The key here is not to use these tools in isolation, but to use them together as they work in harmony to create lasting changes in your subconscious programming. It's important to note that this process takes consistency and dedication. That is, that it is not a quick fix, but rather a continuous effort to shape your inner landscape. It is by using these techniques together that you actively begin to rewire the neural pathways and create new positive habits. So, how do we maintain these new positive habits in the long term? And this leads us to the critical aspect of long-term habit formation, the continuous practice of reinforcing positive changes and ensuring that these new habits become a permanent part of your subconscious program. Change is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it requires time, consistency, and self-compassion. You cannot expect to undo years of ingrained patterns overnight. It's like planting a seed. You have to consistently nurture it for it to grow. This is why consistent daily practice is more effective than infrequent bursts of intense activity. You must continue to reinforce the new empowering beliefs and habits through affirmations, visualization, and emotional repatterning with commitment and consistency. It is also important to be patient with yourself and not to be discouraged by occasional setbacks. It's not about being perfect, but about being persistent. Self-compassion is essential in this journey, as you must learn to be gentle with yourself and to celebrate even the smallest wins, understanding that this process of change takes time and that setbacks are a normal part of the journey. You must embrace this change as a long-term journey of transformation rather than a quick fix. This long-term perspective allows you to focus on progress rather than perfection. By consistently reinforcing these new habits, you are creating new neural pathways in your subconscious, and over time, these new patterns become the new automatic response. That is, that your new habits become your new normal. This understanding provides a perspective that it is not just about short-term changes, but about a long-term journey. So, if these habits become the new norm, how do we know that our internal landscape is aligned with our desires? And this brings us back to our emotions, which act as your internal compass and the most reliable guidance system that can tell you whether your internal landscape is aligned with your desires. And it's through this emotional navigation that you can steer your course. Emotions are often seen as something that should be controlled or avoided, but rather, they are a valuable source of information about your inner state. When you experience positive emotions, like joy, excitement, love, or gratitude, this is a sign that you are in alignment with your true path. When you feel negative emotions such as fear, anger, or frustration, this is a sign that you are holding beliefs or intentions that are not aligned with your true desires. Think about a compass. When you are heading in the right direction, the needle points north, and when you are going off course, the needle shifts. Your emotions are your internal compass, and when you begin to pay attention to these signals, you can begin to understand which parts of your inner landscape are aligned and which parts are in need of readjustment. This is not about judging the feelings, but rather using them as indicators for your growth and change. The more you pay attention to your emotional guidance system, the more empowered you become in your ability to shape your reality. This is not about suppressing negative emotions, but about understanding what those feelings are telling you and making the necessary adjustments to your internal landscape. Therefore, this emotional guidance system is the most direct form of feedback that you have. So, how can you consciously use this compass to shift your course? Now, let's explore the techniques to shift your emotional states and how to actively cultivate more positive and empowering feelings, because you are not a victim to your emotions, but rather the creator of them, and this is a power that you can wield with awareness and intention. When you experience a negative emotion, take a moment to acknowledge it, understand what is causing it, and then consciously choose to shift your emotional state. Breathwork is one of the simplest ways to shift your emotional state, as it directly affects your nervous system. Through conscious and intentional breathing, you can calm your mind, relax your body, and shift from a state of anxiety to a state of calm. Gratitude practices are another effective tool. By consciously focusing on what you are grateful for, you are shifting your focus from lack to abundance, which changes the vibration that you are embodying. Mindfulness is another technique. By becoming more aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment, you can create space between yourself and your emotions, allowing you to choose how you want to respond, rather than being at the mercy of your automatic reactions. It's important to note that these techniques are not about forcing a positive emotion, but about creating the conditions for more empowering feelings to arise naturally. The key is to practice these techniques regularly and to bring them into your daily life, making them a part of your daily habits. These shifts are easy to apply, and through consistent practice, they begin to create an overall emotional state that is more positive and empowering, and that starts to change the internal vibration that you are putting into the world. So, how does this emotional vibration play into the creation process? And this brings us to the concept of emotional resonance, the powerful magnetic force that draws experiences into your life and amplifies your manifestation abilities. This means that it is not enough to simply think about what you want, but you must also feel the emotions associated with having it, embodying the feeling of your desired outcome as if it is already your present reality. When you embody the feeling of joy, love, abundance, and fulfillment, you are emitting a vibrational frequency that is in alignment with these experiences, and through the principle of resonance, you will attract similar experiences to you. Think of it like a tuning fork. When you vibrate one tuning fork, another nearby will begin to vibrate in the same frequency. Your emotions are like the tuning fork, and they are constantly sending out signals that are attracting experiences that match the same frequency. By using all of your senses, and by visualizing your desired experience, you bring the manifestation into sharper focus and create a stronger magnetic pull towards it. The more vividly you can experience these emotions, the more powerful your manifestation will be. For example, if you desire a loving relationship, you can begin by cultivating feelings of love, joy, and connection, and embodying these feelings as if you are already in that loving relationship. The more you practice this process, the more powerful you become in the art of conscious creation. This emotional resonance is the driving force behind all of your manifestations, which is why it is so important to take control of this frequency to change your external reality. So, how do we weave this emotional resonance into the creation process? And this brings us to the integration of your emotions into the conscious creation process. That is, no longer trying to suppress them, but understanding how to work with them to create a more powerful and intentional approach to manifestation. The understanding that emotions are an essential ingredient in the manifestation process shifts from thinking they are something that must be avoided to understanding that they are a powerful ally. By intentionally cultivating positive emotions and understanding their importance in the creative process, you become more effective in shaping your experiences. When you are creating an intention, it's not enough to simply think about what you want. You must also embody the feelings associated with that desire. You have to bring it into your current reality by feeling as though it already exists. This creates a sense of immediacy and amplifies the energy behind your manifestation. The ability to work with your emotions and not against them is a critical skill in the process of conscious creation. The goal is not to eliminate negative emotions, but to understand what they are telling you, to address the root cause, and to choose to feel differently. It's about intentionally choosing the emotions that align with your desires and consciously embodying the state that you want to experience. When you learn to integrate your emotions in this way, you create a more powerful and more effective approach to manifestation, and you begin to harmonize the inner and outer realities. By understanding that they are not something to bypass, you become a more intentional creator. So, if emotions are so critical in the process, how can we formulate an intention with clarity and precision? So, how do we weave this emotional resonance into the creation process and formulate an intention with clarity and precision to not only know what you want, but to truly embody it? What if I told you that the key to manifestation is not just about setting intentions, but about creating an inner state that is in perfect alignment with those desires? This is the alchemy of alignment, the harmonious dance between your inner and outer worlds, where your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are all singing the same song, creating a magnetic pull that draws your desires into your reality. It's not enough to simply wish for something. You must become a vibrational match to the experience itself, where your inner reality acts as the blueprint for your outer experience. This process is not about forcing the universe to bend to your will, but rather about creating an inner resonance that naturally attracts your desires. Think of it like tuning an instrument. If one string is out of tune, the entire melody will be off-key. Similarly, if your thoughts, emotions, or beliefs are not in harmony with your intentions, there will be resistance, which slows down and sometimes blocks the manifestation process. If you hold the belief that you are not worthy of abundance, no matter how hard you try to manifest wealth, your subconscious will create barriers that prevent this from happening, simply because you are out of alignment. It is through this inner alignment that you become a magnet for your desires, and it is through these subtle shifts that your reality begins to transform. The understanding that your internal state must align with your intentions is the first step to true conscious creation. So, how do we create this internal alignment? And this brings us to the understanding of vibrational frequencies, that all is energy, including your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, and that everything in the universe is vibrating at a unique frequency, and that your emotional state is constantly sending out a vibrational signal that attracts experiences of a similar resonance. Your emotions are not just random feelings, but rather are powerful frequencies that are constantly shaping your reality. Positive emotions, such as joy, love, gratitude, and excitement, vibrate at a higher frequency and attract experiences that are aligned with these states, bringing more of the same into your reality. Negative emotions, such as fear, anger, sadness, and resentment, vibrate at a lower frequency and attract experiences that are aligned with these states, perpetuating a cycle of negativity. Think of your emotions as a radio receiver, constantly tuning in to different frequencies, broadcasting your emotional state to the universe, which then responds to these signals by bringing experiences that match that particular frequency. If you are tuned into the frequency of abundance, you will naturally attract more opportunities for wealth and prosperity. If you are tuned into the frequency of love, you will attract more loving relationships into your experience. It is through the understanding of vibrational frequencies that you begin to realize the importance of cultivating positive emotional states, and that by consciously choosing these states, you are actively shaping your reality. This is not some magical process, but rather a simple understanding of the natural laws of the universe and how we are always in a state of energetic exchange. So, how can you consciously take control of your emotional vibration? Now, let's explore the techniques that can elevate your vibrational frequencies by shifting your emotional state and attracting positive experiences into your reality. These techniques are not difficult to learn or apply, and through consistent practice, they create profound shifts in your overall emotional landscape. Gratitude practices are one of the simplest, yet most effective ways to raise your vibration. By taking time each day to consciously focus on what you are grateful for, you shift your attention from lack to abundance, creating an internal state of joy and appreciation. This simple practice rewires your neural pathways, creating an upward spiral in your emotions. Meditation is another valuable tool, which allows you to quiet the noise of the mind and connect to a deeper sense of peace and presence. Through meditation, you can become aware of the subtle patterns of your emotions and consciously choose to release negative thoughts and feelings, which raises your vibration by reducing resistance within your energy system. Positive affirmations, when used with intention, are a powerful tool for reprogramming the subconscious mind. By consciously choosing positive and empowering statements and repeating them daily, you are essentially planting new seeds of belief in your subconscious and changing the program that you are operating from, creating an upward spiral of positive emotion. These practices, while simple, can have a profound impact on your emotional state, and the more you practice them, the more you will embody a higher vibrational frequency, and that attracts experiences that are aligned with these positive emotional states. The key here is consistency in making these practices a part of your daily routine. So, if we are controlling our vibration, how do we allow manifestation to happen? And this brings us to the art of allowing, a critical component of the manifestation process, because it is not enough to simply set your intention and raise your vibration. You must also release the need to control the outcome and allow the manifestation to unfold naturally. The act of allowing is the delicate dance between active participation and trusting the flow of the universe, and it is in this delicate balance that true magic begins to occur. It is not about passively sitting back and hoping for the best, but rather, it is about taking aligned action while releasing the attachment to the specific outcome. If you try to control every aspect of your manifestation, you create resistance, which slows down and sometimes blocks the process. Imagine a river. You cannot force the water to flow in a particular direction, but rather you can navigate its current, and you must learn to work with its natural flow. Similarly, in the process of manifestation, you must learn to align with the natural flow of the universe, and to release your grip on the need to control every detail, trusting that your desire will manifest at the perfect time. The understanding that allowing is a key component of the creative process is about finding the balance between intention and surrender, between action and faith. It is in this state of allowing that you open the door to limitless possibilities, and that you release the need to control, which is what often blocks our desires from coming to fruition. So, if this is the internal process, how does our perception play a role in what manifests? And this brings us to the mirror of perception, that what we perceive as real is often a subjective interpretation of reality, not an objective truth. What if I told you that your reality is not a fixed, concrete thing, but rather a construct of your own mind that is shaped by your beliefs, experiences, and interpretations? This is the power of perception, the lens through which you see the world, and it determines the nature of your experiences. Our individual lenses are unique, as each one is shaped by our culture, upbringing, education, and personal experiences. Think about different cultures around the world, which have vastly different experiences and understanding of reality. This serves as a clear example that there is no single objective truth, but rather that reality is a subjective creation. What one culture deems acceptable, another might find bizarre or even immoral. This is because their perception of reality is influenced by their unique cultural lens. Even your own individual experience is not fixed, as you might perceive the same event in different ways, depending on your emotional state or current beliefs. This understanding of the subjective nature of reality is both empowering and also creates a sense of responsibility. It's empowering because it shows that reality is not fixed and can be shaped by our perspective, and it's a responsibility because it means that we are responsible for the realities that we create. So, how can we truly begin to take responsibility for our perspective? And this brings us to the understanding of the observer effect, a concept from quantum physics that demonstrates that the act of observing an event influences its outcome. This is not some abstract theory, but rather a fundamental principle of reality, which means that your attention plays a crucial role in the unfolding of your life. What if I told you that you are not just a passive observer of reality, but rather an active participant in its creation? Quantum entanglement shows that particles can become linked together, and that when one particle is observed, the other particle will instantly change its state, no matter the distance between them. This idea suggests that the act of observing is not passive, but rather that it influences the reality that is being observed. This is not to say that reality is solely created by you, but that you are a co-creator in the process. Your attention is like a spotlight, highlighting the aspects of reality that you choose to focus on, while also bringing them into manifestation. The more attention that you give something, the more real it becomes in your experience. This idea emphasizes that what you choose to focus on is what you bring into your reality, and it is your attention that shapes the very fabric of your experience. Therefore, your attention is a powerful force, and it should be used with intention. So, if your perception shapes your experience, how can you consciously choose a more empowering perspective? Now, let's explore how your perception acts as a creative force, and how you can consciously choose to shift your lens and create a more positive and fulfilling life. The way you interpret events, the meanings you assign to them, and the stories that you tell yourself all play a role in shaping your emotional responses and your actions, which collectively create your individual reality. Think about a challenging situation that you experienced in the past. How did you interpret it? Did you see it as a setback or an opportunity for growth? The way that you interpreted it shaped how you felt about it and the actions that you took in response, and ultimately created a different outcome. Or think about someone having a bad day. When we are in a negative emotional state, we tend to see the world through a negative lens, and everything we experience is filtered through this bad day filter. However, if we consciously choose to reframe this bad day as a learning experience, we can shift our emotional state and create a more empowering outcome. The understanding that perception is a creative force means that you have the power to choose what you want to experience, and by choosing a more positive and empowering interpretation of events, you create a different reality for yourself. The idea is not to deny reality, but rather to understand that your perception is one of many different ways of seeing an event. Therefore, the key is to consciously choose the way you want to interpret the world. So, how do you shift your lens? And this brings us to the practical steps for consciously shifting your perspective and intentionally focusing on positive opportunities. You are not a prisoner of your current perspective, but rather you have the power to choose how you want to see the world, which in turn transforms your experience. Start by simply becoming aware of your own thought patterns. What kind of stories are you telling yourself about your life? Are these stories empowering or are they limiting? Journaling is an effective tool where you can write out your thoughts and feelings and explore the limiting beliefs that may be shaping your perception. Mindfulness is another practice that can be useful as it helps you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Through this awareness, you create space between yourself and your thoughts, and you are no longer at the mercy of your habitual patterns. Choose to see the good in every situation and actively look for the opportunities and positive aspects that are available to you. This practice might seem simple, but it rewires your brain to look for the positive, even when it's hard to see, and creates an upward spiral of positive experiences. When faced with a challenging situation, ask yourself, what is the lesson I can learn from this? And how can I use this to grow? This shift in perspective changes the way you experience the event, and it allows you to find meaning and purpose in even the most difficult situations. These simple practices create a new perception, which leads to a more positive and fulfilling experience of your reality. So, if perception can be shifted, what hidden resistances block this transformation? And this brings us to the understanding of hidden resistance, the unconscious beliefs, fears, and patterns that often block us from consciously creating our desired realities. What if I told you that your subconscious is often working against your conscious intentions? This hidden resistance can manifest in many forms, often as the fear of success or the fear of the unknown, and it is often disguised as self-sabotaging behaviors that keep you stuck in your comfort zone. The fear of success is one of the most common forms of resistance, often rooted in subconscious beliefs of self-worth. You might consciously desire a successful career, but if you hold the subconscious belief that you do not deserve success, you will find yourself unintentionally creating barriers that prevent this from happening. These barriers can manifest as procrastination, avoidance of opportunities, or even the subconscious creation of negative experiences. The fear of the unknown is another powerful form of resistance, where the uncertainty of change and growth can feel overwhelming. Even when you are unhappy in your current situation, the comfort of the familiar may feel safer than the unknown future. This creates a resistance to change, which keeps you stuck in unsatisfying patterns and cycles. These hidden fears are not always obvious, as they often operate in the subconscious, which is why it is so important to understand them. So, how do we shine a light on these subconscious roadblocks? Now, let's explore the techniques to identify and transcend these subconscious blocks by delving into the hidden corners of your mind and shining a light on the self-sabotaging programs that are holding you back. Inner child work is an effective tool where you connect with your younger self and understand the origins of your limiting beliefs, and these limiting beliefs are often created in childhood, when we did not have the capacity to fully understand or process our experiences. Emotional release techniques can help you to process and release pent-up emotions, which are often stored in your subconscious. By consciously allowing yourself to feel your feelings without judgment or suppression, you can release the energy that is often creating these blockages. Shadow work is another powerful approach, where you explore the hidden aspects of your personality that have been suppressed or disowned, often referred to as your shadow. By acknowledging and integrating these aspects of yourself, you become more whole and less driven by these subconscious reactions and negative patterns. The understanding that you have subconscious blocks is not something to be avoided, but rather it is an opportunity to integrate these hidden aspects and to become a more whole and empowered version of yourself. These practices are not a quick fix, but rather a long-term journey of exploration, which allows you to understand the hidden patterns that are shaping your reality. So, if these hidden resistances are brought to light, what is the next step? And this leads us to the understanding that embracing vulnerability is a key aspect of growth and empowerment, because it is through letting go of your defenses that you create genuine connections, which ultimately leads to lasting transformations. It can be uncomfortable to show up as your authentic self, to be seen without your protective shields, and this discomfort can be very difficult. However, it is through this vulnerability that you open yourself up to true connection and understanding. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you are not only connecting with others on a deeper level, but also creating a space where you can be fully seen and accepted for who you are. This creates a sense of self-acceptance, and this self-acceptance becomes the new foundation upon which you build your personal power. Your imperfections are not weaknesses, but rather they are part of what makes you uniquely human. The ability to embrace vulnerability is a testament to your strength and authenticity, which creates stronger relationships and a more authentic experience of life. This is why it's essential to let go of the need to be perfect and to embrace your imperfections, and to understand that it is through your vulnerability that you will find your strength. So, if personal power comes from within, how can we use it in an ethical manner? And this brings us to the ethical compass, the understanding that with great power comes great responsibility, and that as you become more aware of your ability to shape reality, it is essential to use this knowledge for the betterment of all. The understanding that you are not just an individual, but rather a part of a larger whole, and that your choices have an impact on everyone around you. It is not enough to simply manifest your own desires, but also to align your intentions with ethical principles that benefit the collective. Think of the butterfly effect. A small choice made by you can ripple through the fabric of reality, impacting the experiences of others. This is why it's so important to be mindful of the energy you are putting into the world and the intentions behind your actions. When you create with a sense of ethical responsibility, you create a reality that is not only beneficial for you, but for everyone, which ultimately creates a more harmonious world. This understanding brings a sense of collective responsibility to conscious creation, because it is not enough to simply create your desires, but also to create a world that serves the betterment of humanity. So, what ethical standards should we be using to guide our intentions? Now, let's explore the ethical values that should guide your creative intentions, focusing on principles such as compassion, integrity, and service to others. These values are not just abstract concepts, but rather they are the foundation for a more just and harmonious world. When your intentions are guided by compassion, you are not just focusing on your own needs, but also on the needs of others. When you are guided by integrity, you are acting in accordance with your highest values, and when you are guided by service, you are contributing to the betterment of humanity. These values act as a moral compass that ensures your intentions are aligned with the greater good and are not fueled by selfishness or greed. Think about a time when you acted out of integrity, and what was the result? You will notice that when you act with integrity, that your desires manifest with greater ease and grace. Conversely, when your intentions are rooted in selfishness, there is often resistance, which slows down the creative process. Therefore, it is important to create from a place of integrity, with an understanding that all choices have consequences. This perspective shifts the focus from individual gain to the collective well-being. So, how does our individual vision connect to the whole? And this brings us to the understanding of collective well-being, that we are all interconnected, and that when we create a world that benefits everyone, we are also creating a world that benefits ourselves. The idea that your personal journey is not separate from the collective journey of humanity, and that your actions have a direct impact on the whole. When you focus solely on your own desires, ignoring the needs of others, you create a world that is imbalanced and unsustainable. However, when you create with an awareness of the collective, you're not only contributing to the well-being of others, but also creating a more positive reality for yourself. Think of it like a garden. When you only focus on your own plants and ignore the needs of the rest of the garden, you create an imbalanced ecosystem. But when you care for the entire garden, let all the plants thrive together. Similarly, your personal well-being is connected to the well-being of the whole, and that when you focus on creating a world that is sustainable and harmonious, you create an experience that benefits all. The understanding that our individual visions are interconnected shifts the focus away from separation and towards a vision of unity. So, if the collective is so important, how can we use our power to serve others? Now, let's explore how service to others can be a path to deeper fulfillment, as you realize that your personal growth is intertwined with the well-being of the collective. When you serve others, you are not just helping them, but you are also helping yourself, and that through your generosity, you create a sense of purpose and connection that transcends your individual needs. Your personal goals can be tied into a larger vision of service as you discover your unique talents and share them with the world. By contributing your gifts and skills, you create a more positive and meaningful experience and create a ripple effect that will positively influence the experiences of those around you. Think about a time when you helped someone and what was the result. You may notice that you did not just help them, but you also felt a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. This feeling is what you get when you align with your true nature. Through service, you find a deeper meaning that resonates with your authentic self, and you begin to realize that when you contribute to the collective, you are also enriching your own experience. Therefore, the key is to align your intentions with a larger vision and understand that service is a powerful way to create personal fulfillment and collective well-being. So, if service is a path to fulfillment, how do we integrate these practices into our daily lives? And this brings us to the integration of mindfulness, intention, and gratitude as practical tools for creating a more conscious and fulfilling life. Because these tools are not just for big manifestations, but should also be integrated into our daily routines to consciously shape every moment. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the current moment without judgment, allowing you to be more aware of your thoughts and actions. This simple practice allows you to make more conscious decisions and to not act on impulse, but rather with awareness. By paying attention to your breath, your senses, and your surroundings, you become more attuned to the present moment and release the anxiety of the past and the future. You must understand that your actions are not separate from your intentions, and by setting an intention before you begin any task, you will create more aligned outcomes, whether that is making a meal or having a conversation. Setting these intentions allows you to bring a sense of purpose and clarity to every activity, and that creates more meaningful experiences. Gratitude is another practice that transforms your internal state by focusing your attention on all that you are grateful for and shifts your perception from lack to abundance. It's not about being positive all the time, but rather understanding how to use your power of intention to create a more harmonious and meaningful experience. Therefore, the key is to make these practices a daily habit and to consciously choose them each and every day. So, if these are the tools to use, what is the journey ahead? And this brings us to the understanding that the journey of self-mastery is never-ending, a continuous process of growth, exploration, and expansion that is not about reaching a destination, but about embracing every moment every step along the way. This is not a linear path. It has twists and turns, with periods of growth and setbacks, and it is through your resilience and perseverance that you continue to move forward. There will be times when you will feel lost, confused, or discouraged, but it is in these moments that your resilience will be tested, and it is through these challenges that you have the opportunity to grow. You must embrace each challenge with open arms and understand that these difficult times are not detours, but rather part of the path. It is through these moments of difficulty that you learn and grow and refine your understanding of life, and that you are always progressing forward, even if it seems like you are not. The journey of self-mastery is about embracing the process and enjoying every aspect of your growth, and to understand that this is a lifelong pursuit that is constantly evolving, and it is through this constant growth that you become a more conscious and empowered creator. Therefore, the path of self-mastery is not a destination, but a journey that is meant to be enjoyed. So, how can you embrace this journey with a sense of trust? Now, let's explore how you can cultivate a sense of trust by releasing your need to control every outcome and surrendering to the natural flow of the universe. This understanding of trust is not about giving up, but rather, it is about having faith that your desires will manifest in perfect timing, even when you cannot see the outcome. Trust is about releasing the need to control the details of your manifestation and believing that the universe has your best interest at heart and that all things work out in perfect order. It's like trusting the unfolding of a flower. You cannot control when it blooms, but you can create the conditions for it to flourish. Similarly, you cannot control every aspect of your manifestation, but you can create the internal state that will allow it to manifest naturally, and then allow it to unfold at the perfect time. This is not a passive acceptance, but rather an active form of faith, trusting that your intentions will manifest, even if it is in ways that you would not have anticipated. Therefore, the key to trusting the process is to believe that your desires will manifest in perfect timing. So, if trust is the foundation, how can we embrace the unknown with courage? And this brings us to the importance of embracing the unknown with courage, because it is in the face of uncertainty that you unlock your potential for growth and transformation. The fear of the unknown is a natural human response, but it's through moving past this fear that you discover new possibilities and expand your horizons. Stepping outside of your comfort zone is necessary, as this is where you discover new strengths and talents. It is through facing the unknown that you create new pathways for growth, and that you develop a deeper understanding of yourself and your capabilities. Remember that growth often happens in times of discomfort as you are pushed outside of your comfort zone and into new territory. Embracing the unknown is not about being reckless or irresponsible, but rather about having the courage to follow your intuition and take the steps that will lead you to your highest potential. Therefore, by embracing the unknown with courage, you become more open to new opportunities. So, if we embrace the unknown, what do we contribute to the collective awakening? And this brings us to the understanding that by embracing your personal power and living authentically, you are also contributing to the collective awakening of humanity, and that every choice you make has an impact on the whole. Your individual journey is not separate from the collective journey, and when you create a more conscious and empowered reality for yourself, you are also creating a more positive and harmonious reality for everyone. You are not just an individual, but a vital part of the human collective, and that your actions have a rippling effect. Think of it like a symphony. Each instrument is unique, but when played together, they create a beautiful piece of music. Similarly, each individual has a unique role to play in the collective awakening, and it is through your authentic expression that you contribute to the harmony of the whole. By living with intention, compassion, and integrity, you inspire others to do the same, and you create a chain reaction of positive change. Therefore, you are not just shaping your own reality, but also the reality of the collective, and by embracing your power, you are contributing to the evolution of consciousness for the betterment of all. So, if you now understand the theoretical aspects, how can we transform this understanding into a tangible experience and begin to activate the dormant power within you? What if I told you that the path to conscious creation is not just about understanding the principles, but about embodying them in your daily life and transforming your knowledge into a lived reality? This shift from intellectual understanding to embodied experience is the alchemical process that turns theory into tangible results. It's not enough to simply know that your beliefs create your reality, but rather, you must begin to consciously shape those beliefs and make them an active part of your being. This active participation is what empowers you to move beyond just a passive observer of life to an active participant in its creation, and it is through this engagement that your reality begins to transform. The shift from knowing to embodying requires consistent effort and commitment, and it is through consistent practice that you create mastery. So, how do we put these concepts into tangible daily action? Let's explore some concrete techniques that you can start implementing today to activate your innate creative potential, because it is in the practical application that theory is transformed into tangible results. Visualization is a powerful tool where you consciously create a mental image of your desired outcome, and you actively engage all of your senses, as if the experience is already occurring in the present moment. This technique is not just about imagining, it's about feeling, tasting, smelling, hearing, and seeing the desired outcome as vividly as possible. For example, if you want to manifest a new home, don't just picture the house. Walk through the rooms in your imagination, feel the texture of the walls, smell the scent of the fresh paint, listen to the sounds of the neighborhood. This practice, when done regularly, creates a powerful imprint in your subconscious, and it acts as a blueprint for your physical reality. Affirmations are another tool that can reprogram your subconscious with positive beliefs. Choose affirmations that resonate with your desired outcome and repeat them daily with intention and emotion, and with practice, you begin to embody them. For example, instead of saying, "I want to be successful," you might say, "I am successful," or "I am living my ideal life," or "I am surrounded by abundance," where you speak as if it is already happening. This method creates new neural pathways in your brain that are aligned with these positive statements, and they actively begin to shape your experience. The understanding that when intention and emotion are coupled together, that this amplifies the manifestation process, is also key, because it's not enough to just visualize or affirm. You also need to feel the emotions of joy, gratitude, and excitement that come with having already achieved your goal. These emotions are the fuel that accelerates your creative process, bringing your desires into fruition. These tools are powerful, but they require consistent practice, and it is through repetition that mastery is achieved. So, what are some simple mindset shifts you can implement? Now, let's explore some simple exercises that can shift your mindset, transforming your perception of reality and empowering you to become a more conscious creator of your experiences, because your mindset is the foundation upon which your reality is built. The first step is to identify your limiting beliefs, those subconscious thoughts that hold you back and that keep you stuck in repeating patterns. Grab a journal, write down all of your beliefs about yourself, your capabilities, and what you think is possible, and take a close look at these statements. Ask yourself, are these beliefs truly my own? Or are they just inherited from others? This simple act of self-reflection brings these subconscious beliefs into the light of your awareness. You must then begin to challenge these negative thought patterns and actively choose to reframe them into more empowering perspectives, and this is where the conscious choice comes in. If you find yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," reframe it with, "I am always learning and growing," or "I am capable of great things." This rewiring of your internal dialogue is essential for changing your reality. Another powerful technique is cultivating gratitude, which is the practice of focusing on what you appreciate, which shifts your attention from what you lack to what you have, creating a more abundant experience. Start your day by writing down 3 things you are grateful for, or reflect on your blessings in a moment of silence. And as you cultivate this habit, you begin to notice the abundance that is already present in your life. These simple exercises, when practiced consistently, will transform your mindset and create the foundation for a more empowering reality. So, if you know how to shift your mindset, how do we set intentions with precision? And this brings us to the art of setting intentions, a process that is not just about wishing, but also about consciously choosing what you want to create. Your intention is like a compass, guiding your actions and shaping your experiences, so you must be clear and precise in your declarations. When setting intentions, be specific about what you want to experience, focusing on the desired outcome and not the lack. Instead of saying, "I want to be free from debt," you could say, "I am financially abundant and living a prosperous life," using language that is clear and empowering, and also focusing on the desired end result. Feel the emotions associated with your intentions as vividly as possible, allowing yourself to experience joy, excitement, and gratitude as if it is already happening. This emotional charge amplifies the energy behind your intentions, which creates a more powerful manifestation. In addition to this, focus your attention on the present moment and create intentions that are aligned with your authentic self, and not simply based on external desires or the expectations of others. It's not about getting something, but rather about aligning with your true desires from a place of authenticity and using your power of intention to bring them into being. By combining specificity, emotion, and present moment awareness, you are setting intentions that are not just wishes, but clear directives to your subconscious mind. Therefore, intention is a powerful force, and when used with precision, you will shape your experience with greater awareness. So, how important is consistency in practice? Now, let's explore the power of consistent practice, that it is through repetition that mastery is achieved, and that it is the small daily steps that will bring the most profound results, because consistency is the key that unlocks your creative potential. Just like learning to play a musical instrument, where consistent daily practice is essential for mastering your skill. Similarly, the art of conscious creation requires consistent application of techniques, and by making these practices a daily habit, you create a powerful momentum that accelerates your transformation. If you only practice your visualization or affirmation once in a while, you will get a limited result. However, when you make these practices a daily ritual, you begin to embody the principles, making them a natural part of your being. For example, a person that practices guitar for 15 minutes every day will see significantly more improvement than someone who practices for an hour once a week. It is the consistency that matters, not the duration of the practice. Think of it like a drip of water that may seem insignificant, but over time it can carve through rock. Similarly, the small, consistent steps that you take each day will ultimately shape your reality with a compounded effect. The idea is to not get overwhelmed by the size of your goals, but rather to focus on consistent small actions that compound over time, and to trust that your consistent effort will bring you to your desired outcomes. Therefore, the key is consistency, and through consistent action you create mastery, and you will begin to witness a significant shift in your experience. So, what challenges arise when you are applying these principles? And this brings us to the common challenges that arise when embarking on the manifestation journey, such as doubt, fear, and the inevitable setbacks that are part of any path of growth, because understanding these obstacles is crucial for navigating them with grace and resilience. The first challenge is often self-doubt, that inner critic that tells you that you are not good enough or that your desires are impossible, and this inner voice can be very convincing, leading you to second-guess yourself and to lose your faith. Another common challenge is the fear of the unknown, which can cause resistance and keep you stuck in your comfort zone even when you know you are not happy. And these fears can manifest in many different ways, such as procrastination, avoidance, or the creation of negative circumstances, that prevent your desired outcome. Setbacks are also inevitable. The path of manifestation is not always linear, and there will be times where things do not go according to plan, and in these moments, it is easy to fall into the trap of thinking you have failed, or that this path is not for you. It is important to remember that these challenges are not obstacles to your success, but rather, they are opportunities for growth, testing your resilience, and deepening your understanding of the creative process. The journey to self-mastery is not always smooth, and it is in the overcoming of these challenges that you find the true strength and that you move forward with greater wisdom and compassion. Therefore, it is not about avoiding these challenges, but rather about embracing them as an essential part of your growth. So, how do you overcome the inner critic? Now, let's explore the strategies to overcome self-doubt, that inner critic that whispers negativity and undermines your potential. And these are not just theoretical ideas, but tangible tools that you can use in your daily life to create a stronger inner foundation. Self-compassion is a powerful practice that helps you to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a dear friend. When you are experiencing self-doubt, instead of judging yourself harshly, try to approach yourself with kindness and gentleness, acknowledging your humanity and that you are always growing. Positive affirmations, when used consistently, can be a powerful antidote to self-doubt, as they reprogram your subconscious mind with empowering beliefs. Choose affirmations that directly challenge the negative thoughts you are experiencing and repeat them with intention and emotion. Focusing on past successes can also be helpful, where you make a list of all the times you have overcome challenges and draw strength from those experiences. These are not just memories, but rather they are concrete evidence of your capabilities, and they reinforce the idea that you have the inner resources to overcome any obstacle. The understanding that self-doubt is a natural part of the process, and that it's not something that you have to succumb to, is key. It is through the consistent application of these tools that you create a more resilient inner state, and you transform your inner critic into an inner ally. Therefore, the key to overcoming self-doubt is through self-compassion, positive affirmations, and focusing on past successes. So, how can you reframe your setbacks? And this brings us to the idea of reframing setbacks, viewing them not as failures, but as invaluable opportunities for growth and learning, because it's through shifting your perspective that you discover the hidden lessons within every experience. When you encounter a setback, resist the urge to fall into self-pity or blame, but rather ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What is this showing me about my beliefs or my perspective? For example, if a manifestation does not unfold as you anticipated, ask yourself, what belief might be misaligned with my intention? What is this showing me about my internal state? Or what perspective do I need to adjust? Use these setbacks as an opportunity to learn more about yourself and to fine-tune your approach to the manifestation process. Think of it like an experiment. When something doesn't work, it is not a failure. It's simply valuable feedback that allows you to adjust your methods. This way of thinking transforms your challenges into teachers and transforms your mistakes into stepping stones for growth. The understanding that the most powerful lessons come from the most challenging experiences shifts your perspective from fear to curiosity and allows you to move forward with greater understanding and wisdom. Therefore, by reframing your setbacks as learning opportunities, you're not only growing, but you're also deepening your understanding of yourself and the creative process. So, how important is perseverance in your manifestation journey? Now, let's explore the importance of perseverance and resilience, the unwavering commitment to your path that allows you to overcome challenges and create lasting transformations. The manifestation journey is not a sprint, but a marathon, and it is the consistent effort that will ultimately bring you to the finish line, where mastery is achieved through consistent practice and not by avoiding challenges. When faced with adversity, it is tempting to give up and to lose faith in your capabilities. But it is in those moments that your resilience is tested, and when you choose to persevere, you discover a strength you never knew you possessed. Think of a time when you faced adversity and refused to give up. You probably came out of the experience stronger, more confident, and more empowered. Similarly, in the manifestation process, you will be faced with moments where you doubt yourself or feel like giving up, but it's your commitment to your intention that keeps you going, and every challenge you overcome only strengthens your determination. The understanding that true power comes not from avoiding adversity, but rather from overcoming it, allows you to move forward with greater courage and resilience. Therefore, it's not about having a perfect path, it's about embracing the imperfections along the way and to trust that your perseverance will lead you to mastery. So, if these are the internal mechanics, how do they show up in our everyday experience? And this brings us to the exploration of real-world examples, where the principles we have discussed are seen in action, and showcasing that conscious creation is not just a theory, but a tangible reality, accessible to everyone. Consider individuals who have made radical career changes, shifting from unsatisfying jobs to careers that are aligned with their passions. For instance, a person who was working in a dead-end job, who always dreamed of being a writer, they begin to shift their beliefs, focusing their attention and energy on their creative talents, and they begin to manifest opportunities to do what they love. And through consistent effort and focused intention, they transform their reality. This is not a magical process, but the result of the conscious creation principles put into action, because as they shifted their beliefs, their reality followed. Or think about the transformations in relationships, where someone shifts from attracting unhealthy relationships to attracting loving and supportive partnerships, and that this shift is not about changing the other person, but rather about changing your own internal state. And through this shift in perception, the person creates more loving and harmonious experiences. Or think about the person who overcomes health challenges, using the power of mindset and intentional focus, which shifts their experience and their inner landscape, creating more vitality and energy in their life. These real-world examples provide tangible proof that conscious creation is not just for special people, but for every individual who understands and applies these principles. Therefore, these examples are not just stories, but they serve as tangible evidence of your creative potential. So, how are these concepts evident in everyday life? Now, let's analyze common everyday scenarios, exploring the hidden mechanics of manifestation that are happening all the time, even without our conscious awareness, because understanding these micro-manifestations can help to deepen your appreciation of the creative force within you. Think about a time when you were looking for a parking spot in a crowded area. You might have visualized finding a spot, and then, by some coincidence, a car pulled out, and you easily parked. You may think this is luck, but it is actually a demonstration of your intentions interacting with the fabric of reality. Or think of a time when you were thinking of a friend, and they called you out of the blue. This is an example of your intention bringing something into your experience. Or think of a time when you had a really bad start to the day, and how that experience seemed to carry throughout your entire day, where everything just seemed to go wrong, as this is an example of the negative emotional state acting as a magnet, bringing more of the same into your experience. These everyday experiences may seem insignificant, but they all carry the same underlying principles of manifestation that are constantly at play. The understanding that you are constantly creating your reality, even when you are not aware of it, is empowering, because it highlights that you are always a co-creator in your life. Therefore, even these micro-manifestations provide tangible evidence that you are always creating your reality. So, what personal experiences validate this understanding? And this brings us to sharing personal anecdotes, those stories of transformation and growth that showcase the power of conscious creation, which creates a connection to the viewer, and that these stories highlight the power of intentional shifts in perspective. Consider the person who felt stuck in a victim mentality, always blaming external circumstances for their problems, that they felt like they were a leaf in the wind and that they had no control over their life. But through consciously changing their beliefs, they began to attract more empowering experiences, and they took full responsibility for their lives, and they became a more conscious creator. Or the person who felt limited by their past experiences, but by choosing to reframe these past events as opportunities for growth, that they liberated themselves from the chains of their past and created a future that was aligned with their true desires. Or the person who was struggling with self-doubt, and by choosing to embrace their vulnerability, they discovered a hidden well of strength, and they created connections that led to more fulfilling experiences, and they realized their imperfections were not weaknesses, but part of their authentic self. These personal anecdotes are not just inspirational stories. They act as a reminder that change is possible and that you are capable of overcoming any perceived limitations. Therefore, these stories serve as a guide for you to recognize your own potential for transformation. So, if personal transformations are possible, how does this understanding apply to various aspects of our lives? Now, let's explore the practical application of these concepts in different areas of life, such as relationships, career, and health, that these principles act as a universal tool for creating a more fulfilling and meaningful experience, because when understood deeply, that they are the foundation of all areas of life. In relationships, you can consciously choose to attract more loving and supportive partnerships by shifting your beliefs about what is possible and creating an internal state that is aligned with genuine connection. This is not about changing the other person, but rather about changing the relationship with yourself. In your career, you can manifest more aligned opportunities by focusing your attention and intention on the work that you are passionate about, and by believing in your capabilities, you will find new avenues for abundance. This is not about chasing money, but about aligning your work with your purpose. In your health, you can use the power of mindset to create more vibrant well-being by focusing on what makes you feel good, and by reframing your beliefs about your body. You begin to experience an increase in vitality and energy, and this is not about denying illness, but about consciously choosing a path of well-being. These examples are not separate areas of life, but rather they are interconnected, and when you use conscious creation principles to one area, that it also impacts others, as they are all interwoven. Therefore, these concepts are not limited to a single area, but they are an integral tool for all of life's experiences. So, if this is the power within us, how can we use it ethically? And this brings us to the ethical compass, the understanding that we are all interconnected, and that your choices have a ripple effect on the world around you, because with great power comes great responsibility. The idea that your individual journey is not separate from the collective journey, and that what you create has an impact beyond your own personal experience. You are not an isolated entity, but rather you are part of a larger tapestry of consciousness, where every thread is interconnected, and when you focus only on your own needs and ignore the needs of the whole, you create an imbalanced experience for everyone. For example, if you focus on amassing wealth at the expense of others, you are contributing to an imbalanced world. But if you focus on creating wealth in a way that also benefits others, you create a more just and abundant experience. This understanding highlights that ethical considerations are not optional, but rather they are an essential aspect of the manifestation process, and that true power comes from using your creative abilities to benefit the collective good. Therefore, it is not enough to just create your personal desires, but rather to align them with the highest good for everyone. So, how do we align with the highest good? Now, let's explore what it means to manifest for the highest good, the intention to create not just for yourself, but for the benefit of the collective, and that true power comes from using your knowledge to serve others. This way of creating is not about giving up your personal desires, but rather about expanding your perspective so that your intentions are aligned with a larger vision, and that your desire for personal fulfillment also serves others. For example, instead of focusing solely on creating a successful career, you can expand this intention to include creating a business that contributes to your community. When you focus on creating for the highest good, you will naturally find that your personal needs are also met, often in ways that you would not have anticipated. Your intentions become more powerful, and you are in alignment with a more abundant flow of energy, which accelerates your creative process. Therefore, it is not enough to just focus on your individual gain, but it's essential to ensure that you are contributing to the well-being of others. So, what is the trap of self-centered intention? And this brings us to the understanding of the trap of selfish desires, and how these often create resistance and lead to dissatisfaction, as true fulfillment is rarely found by focusing only on your individual needs. The pursuit of selfish desires often creates a feeling of lack, as you become more focused on what you don't have, rather than what you do have, and that this state of lack often repels the experiences you are hoping to attract because you are focusing on the opposite. For example, when you pursue wealth only for the sake of acquiring more, you will find yourself in a state of perpetual dissatisfaction, constantly chasing the next thing and never feeling truly content. However, when you focus on using your wealth to create value for others, you will often experience a deeper sense of fulfillment, and it is this sense of purpose that makes you feel more connected and more complete. This self-centered approach disconnects you from the interconnected web of life, and you often find yourself isolated and disconnected from your true purpose. Therefore, when your intentions are rooted in selfishness, you create resistance that blocks your desires, and that the pursuit of selfish desires is often a path to dissatisfaction. So, how can we create a more harmonious reality for all? Now, let's explore the idea of creating a harmonious reality by choosing to manifest with compassion, integrity, and a focus on the well-being of all, because it is through conscious intention that we shape not only our lives, but also the world around us. When you choose to create from a place of compassion, you are not only thinking of your own needs, but also of the needs of others. You are understanding that you are not a separate entity, but part of a collective whole, and that your choices have consequences for everyone. When you create with integrity, you act in accordance with your highest values, that you align your actions with your authentic self, and that you are not compromising your moral compass for personal gain. And when you create with a focus on well-being, you choose to use your power to contribute to a more positive and sustainable experience for everyone. Think of it like a symphony, where each instrument is playing in harmony, and when everyone is aligned, the result is beautiful. Similarly, when we choose to manifest with compassion, integrity, and a focus on well-being, we create a more harmonious reality for everyone. Therefore, conscious intention creates a better experience for all, and we have the opportunity to shape that reality with each and every choice. So, how can we begin to reinterpret our limitations? And this brings us to shifting the lens, reinterpreting limitations, that those barriers you experience may not be as fixed as they seem, and that the perception of your own limitations is simply a reflection of your own beliefs, because it is through this shift in perspective that you tap into your limitless potential. The idea that reality is not a fixed concrete thing, but rather a malleable creation of your own consciousness is very powerful, because it is through this understanding that you begin to see beyond your current limitations. If you believe that you are limited by your past experiences, you will create a reality that is limited by your past. If you believe that you are limited by your current circumstances, you will create a reality that is limited by those circumstances. But if you believe that you are capable of anything you set your mind to, you will create a reality that is limitless. These limitations are self-imposed, and through this understanding, you can begin to transcend them. Therefore, the understanding that reality is malleable is the first step towards liberation. So, how can we transcend these self-imposed barriers? Now, let's explore the concept of transcending self-imposed limitations, that these invisible barriers are not a reflection of actual facts, but rather the reflection of deeply held beliefs, and that when you choose to challenge those beliefs, you will begin to expand your perception of what is possible. Many of the limitations we experience are based on limiting beliefs that are programmed into your subconscious at an early age, without any real understanding of the truth, and that these beliefs are passed down from generation to generation without any conscious awareness. For example, if you were taught that you are not good enough, or that you do not deserve success, that belief will act as a limitation, holding you back from achieving your full potential. However, when you understand that those beliefs are just programming, that you can begin to rewrite that code and create more empowering perspectives. You are not limited by your circumstances or by your past experiences, but rather, you are limited by the beliefs that you choose to accept, and that you are always capable of more than you currently believe. Therefore, the understanding that your limitations are self-imposed is the first step to breaking free from them. So, how can we begin to expand our perceived potential? And this brings us to expanding your perceived potential, understanding that it is often limited by your beliefs, and that you are capable of so much more than you currently believe, because it is when we transcend the limits of the mind that we begin to experience the limitless possibilities of life. The way you see yourself, what you believe about your capabilities, all of that limits your experience. If you see yourself as ordinary, you will create an ordinary reality. If you see yourself as extraordinary, you will create an extraordinary reality. The more you believe in yourself, the more your potential expands, and that the only barrier is the limited perception you hold. It's not about ignoring your current limitations, but rather about understanding that they are not fixed, and that you are always growing and evolving, expanding your possibilities. Think of a plant. It starts as a seed, and then it grows into a strong tree, and it expands its growth, and it does not limit itself to the size of the seed. Similarly, we should not limit ourselves to the way that we currently see ourselves, but rather should expand beyond our current vision. Therefore, it is through the belief in your limitless potential that you create a more expansive experience of life. So, if we can expand our vision of ourselves, what are the limitless possibilities available? Now, let's explore embracing boundless possibilities, because it is through releasing your limiting beliefs that you tap into the infinite potential that is always available, and that the path to creating an extraordinary experience is not about getting, but rather about allowing. Your current perception of reality is only one of many different possibilities, that the potential for growth, joy, and abundance is limitless when you embrace the idea of an infinite potential. You must move beyond the limiting perspective of the past and embrace the wonder and the mystery of what is possible, and that it is when you release your limiting beliefs that you allow the extraordinary to happen, because you begin to create new and unexpected pathways. Think of a child with a sense of wonder. They are open to anything, and they see endless potential. Similarly, we should choose to approach life with the same sense of curiosity, and with that openness, that new possibilities emerge. This approach is not about chasing an illusion, but rather about aligning with your true potential, that when we break free from limiting beliefs, the path to endless possibilities reveals itself. Therefore, it is through embracing the boundless potential that is always available that you create an extraordinary experience of life. So, how does all of this interconnect? And this brings us to connecting the dots, understanding that the concepts we have explored are not isolated ideas, but rather they are interconnected threads of a larger tapestry, and that it is in seeing the whole picture that you gain a deeper understanding of your creative potential. Beliefs, intentions, emotions, and the subconscious, they are not separate entities, but rather different aspects of the same process, and when you understand how they interact with each other, you unlock the code to conscious creation. Your beliefs act as the foundation for your experience, shaping your perceptions and influencing your thoughts and emotions. Your intentions act as the direction of your creative energy, and the emotions you feel amplify the power behind your intentions. Your subconscious is the storehouse for your beliefs, and when these are all working in alignment, you begin to co-create the experiences that are in harmony with your true self. Think of it like a tapestry where every thread is essential, and when they are all interwoven together, they create a beautiful masterpiece. And similarly, when your beliefs, intentions, emotions, and your subconscious are working together in harmony, you create a more aligned and fulfilling reality. Therefore, seeing the holistic nature of these ideas is key to understanding the creative process. So, what does it mean to align the body, mind, and spirit? Now, let's explore the synergy of mind, body, and spirit, understanding that true power comes from the integration of all aspects of your being, and that it is when you align the mind, body, and spirit that you access a deeper well of potential. Your mind is your creative center, your body is the vehicle for your experiences, and your spirit is the connection to your authentic self. And when they are all working together, they create a more balanced and harmonious whole. It's not enough to only focus on one aspect and ignore the others. When they are not working in unison, it creates an imbalance. When the mind is at war with the body, or when your spirit is ignored, you will create experiences that are in disharmony. And this lack of alignment limits your creative potential. And when you are aligned, you access greater power. When your mind is aligned with your intentions, when your body is aligned with the expression of your spirit, and when your spirit is connected to your inner guidance, that you are working in full alignment with great power. Therefore, true power is not found by focusing solely on the mind, but rather by integrating all aspects of your being. So, how do we live consciously as a way of being? And this brings us to the understanding that conscious living is not a destination, but rather, it is a way of being, and that it is not about striving for perfection, but about choosing intention, awareness, and compassion each moment of the day. The idea that conscious creation is not a technique you apply once in a while, but a way of being in the world, and the understanding that life is not a problem to be solved, but a journey to be explored. The focus is not on achieving a specific outcome, but rather on choosing to live each moment with intention, awareness, and compassion, as through these conscious choices, your creative potential unfolds naturally. This approach transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, and that it is through the choices you make in each moment that you shape your reality. When you approach life with a sense of wonder, and that you see every challenge as an opportunity to grow, you will move from a place of limitation to one of limitless potential. Therefore, living consciously is a path, and not a destination, and the key is in embracing the journey of growth, and in each moment choosing to live with intention, awareness, and compassion. So, how can we empower others through this understanding? And this brings us to the idea that empowerment comes through understanding, not just knowledge, but also the embodied knowing of your true nature and potential, as the act of conscious creation is a powerful tool for personal transformation. And it is through the understanding of this power that you move from a sense of victimhood to one of empowerment. The understanding that you are not at the mercy of external forces, but rather that you are a conscious creator of your own experiences, that you are a co-creator in the dance of life, and it is through this knowing that you realize your own potential. You are not broken or damaged, but rather you are a powerful being with the ability to shape your own reality. And when you understand this truth, you can no longer remain a passive observer, but rather you are propelled into action, and you become a more conscious co-creator of your life. Therefore, true empowerment comes from understanding your innate creative power, and that you are not just living life, but rather you are co-creating it. So, now that you have explored the various aspects of your creative potential, how do these elements come together to form a unified system? And how can you begin to use these principles with a sense of mastery? What if I told you that the path to conscious creation is not just about understanding the individual components, but about recognizing how they all work together in harmony, like a finely tuned instrument? Your beliefs, intentions, emotions, subconscious programming, and your attention are not separate pieces, but rather they are all interconnected parts of your inner world, all playing their unique roles in the creation of your reality. And it's through understanding this interconnectedness that you step into the role of a conscious creator. Think of an orchestra. Each instrument, a violin, a cello, a trumpet, all play their individual notes, and it is through the collaboration of each instrument that a beautiful symphony is created. And similarly, it's in the collaboration of all of your inner aspects that you create a harmonious life. If the violin is out of tune, the whole orchestra is affected, and similarly, if your beliefs are in conflict with your intentions, that you create an inner dissonance that affects your experience. Therefore, by understanding this unified system, you gain a deeper appreciation for the power within you and the ability to create with greater clarity and awareness. So, how do you take responsibility for the orchestration of your life? And this brings us to personal responsibility and the understanding that you are not a passive observer of your life, but rather, you are the conductor of your own inner symphony, actively choosing which instruments play and how they all harmonize together, because it's through accepting this responsibility that you unlock the full potential of your creative power. You are not a victim of circumstance, but rather, you are a powerful creator, choosing the thoughts, emotions, and beliefs that shape your experiences. And just like a conductor chooses the specific musicians for an orchestra, you must choose the specific aspects of your inner world that will create your life's experience. You are not at the mercy of external forces. You are the one who decides which thoughts will be given power, which emotions will be amplified, and which beliefs will shape your reality. And it is through this conscious choice that you actively orchestrate your life. Each decision, each thought, each feeling is a choice that has an impact on your overall experience. So it's important to understand the power you hold and to consciously use your power to create a life that is in alignment with your true desires. Therefore, you are not just a participant in your life's play, but you are the one who is choosing the script and directing the performance. So, how does conscious choice act as a tuning mechanism? Now, let's explore conscious choice, understanding that it acts as the tuning mechanism of your inner symphony, allowing you to align your beliefs, intentions, and emotions with your highest potential, because when you consciously choose, you begin to create a life that resonates with your true, authentic self. When you choose to align your beliefs with love, compassion, and abundance, that you create a life that reflects these values. And similarly, when you choose to align your intentions with your higher purpose, you create a more meaningful experience. And when you choose emotions such as joy, gratitude, and excitement, that you amplify your creative potential. It is through these conscious choices that you bring harmony into your life. Think of an instrument. When the strings are misaligned, you will create a dissonant sound. But when each string is aligned with precision, you create a beautiful, harmonious sound. And similarly, when your inner world is misaligned, you will create a chaotic experience. But when you choose to align with integrity, you create an inner symphony that resonates with your authentic self. You are always choosing, whether consciously or unconsciously, so the question becomes, are you choosing to create a harmonious experience or a dissonant one? Therefore, conscious choice is the most powerful tool you have for creating a life of harmony and fulfillment. So, how do we approach the journey of self-mastery? And this brings us to embracing the journey of self-mastery, the understanding that mastering your inner symphony is not a destination, but rather, it is a continuous process of growth and evolution, because it's in the active engagement with this process that you discover your true potential. The goal is not perfection, as there will be challenges and setbacks along the way, but rather, it's the commitment to consistently engage in the process of conscious creation that you find the greatest fulfillment. Think of a musician who is mastering a musical piece. They don't give up at the first challenge, but rather they see every mistake as an opportunity to refine their skills, and it's through consistent practice that they become a master. Similarly, your path of self-mastery will have its ups and downs, and it's through your willingness to keep going and to embrace every experience that you move towards a higher level of awareness. The journey of conscious creation is not a linear one, but rather a spiral that takes you through various experiences where you deepen your understanding, and it is in this active engagement with the journey that you find your greatest power. Therefore, self-mastery is not a goal you achieve, but rather, it is a process you embody, and with each step you take, you grow closer to your full potential. So, if this is the mastery of the internal world, what does it mean to move beyond the limitations of the physical world? Now, let's explore the idea of transcending the limitations of the 3D world and stepping into a more expansive understanding of reality, where the laws of physics, as you understand them, become more fluid and malleable, because there is more to life than just the physical realm, that you are not limited by the dimensions that you can currently perceive. The reality that you experience is a construct of your own perception, and your senses act as a filter, showing you only a small portion of what is possible. What if I told you that the world you perceive is just a two-dimensional representation of a multi-dimensional reality? Think of a being that lives in a two-dimensional world. It can only see a flat surface, and it can only comprehend things in a linear way. Now, imagine trying to describe the concept of 3 dimensions to this being. It would be very difficult, because it is outside of their current perception, and it is similar to the way that we are limited by our current perception of reality. Just as a two-dimensional being can't perceive 3 dimensions, we can't perceive the multi-dimensional nature of reality. But as we expand our consciousness, that we begin to see more and more, moving beyond the limitations of time, space, and matter. Therefore, you are not bound by the physical world, but rather, your consciousness has the ability to move beyond the limitations of your senses. So, what does it mean to experience nonlinear manifestation? And this brings us to the understanding of nonlinear manifestation, that you are not limited to the linear flow of time, and that when your intentions are aligned with a high vibrational state, that your manifestations can occur instantly, because your consciousness is the primary driver of your reality. The idea that you do not need to wait for your desires to manifest, that when you are fully aligned, they can happen immediately, which means that you are no longer limited by the concepts of time or space. When you are aligned with your true self, your intentions are clear, your emotions are elevated, and your beliefs are in harmony with your desires, that the manifestation occurs instantly. The universe does not operate in a linear fashion. It's a dynamic and fluid entity, responding to the consciousness that you hold, and when your vibration is high, your manifestations can occur without delay. Think of a seemingly miraculous event, something that seemingly comes out of nowhere, and that those experiences are not actually random, but rather they are the result of consciousness interacting with the quantum field. Therefore, manifestations are not a slow and linear process, but rather they are an instantaneous experience when you are in full alignment. So, how does consciousness become the primary driver? Now, let's explore the concept of consciousness as the primary driver of reality, the understanding that your awareness shapes your experience, and that you are not bound by the rules of the 3D world, because it is in the power of focused attention that you transcend the limitations of your current perceptions. The universe is not a static entity, but rather it is constantly responding to the consciousness of all living beings, and it is your consciousness that is the driving force behind your personal experience, not the laws of the physical world. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions are all energy, and they are constantly interacting with the quantum field, shaping your reality according to your internal state. Think about the observer effect in quantum physics, where the act of observation changes the behavior of particles. Similarly, your consciousness is always influencing the world around you by the simple act of awareness. You are not bound by the limitations of your body, but rather, you are a field of consciousness that has the potential to shape reality in limitless ways. And when you understand this truth, that you begin to tap into the full scope of your power. Therefore, consciousness is the foundation, and you have the power to shape your experiences beyond the limitations of the physical world. So, how can we step into the realm of infinite potential? And this brings us to stepping into the realm of infinite potential, the understanding that you are not limited by your current perception of reality, and that by embracing this knowledge, you access a limitless range of possibilities, because you are capable of far more than you currently believe, that your potential is endless. You are not bound by the confines of your physical body, nor are you bound by the past experiences or the expectations of others. You have the potential to create an extraordinary experience and to move beyond the limitations of your current situation. And the path to unlocking this potential is through the expansion of your consciousness. It is through the conscious awareness that you understand that the universe is limitless, and that your potential is equally as vast, and that you have the capacity to experience joy, abundance, and fulfillment beyond what you can currently imagine. The only limit that exists is the one you impose on yourself. So when you release your limiting beliefs, you access a whole new level of possibilities. You open to all that is available. Therefore, by embracing this knowledge, that you step into a realm of infinite potential, and that you become the creator of your limitless experience. So, how do we begin to map our personal reality? Now, let's explore the concept of the blueprint of creation, the inner map you create, that is based on your beliefs, your emotions, and your intentions, that provides a tangible understanding of your personal reality, because it is in this internal mapping that you gain greater clarity of your creative potential. The first step is to create an inner map of your belief systems, which means that you must understand the core beliefs that are shaping your experiences. Grab a journal and write down all of your core beliefs about yourself, about life, about the world, and analyze these beliefs. Ask yourself, are these beliefs serving me? Are they aligned with my true desires? And it is through this process of self-inquiry that you can begin to identify which beliefs are empowering you and which ones are holding you back. You can then reframe those limiting beliefs and consciously choose more supportive perspectives, that this creates a foundation for an empowered and abundant experience. Therefore, creating an inner map of your beliefs is essential for consciously shaping your personal reality. So, how do we use emotions as our inner guidance system? And this brings us to mapping your emotional guidance system, the understanding that your emotions are not something to be suppressed or ignored, but rather, they act as a compass, guiding you towards or away from your desired experience, because they are constantly providing you with valuable feedback on your internal alignment. When you feel joy, excitement, or peace, it's a sign that you are aligned with your authentic self and that you are moving towards a more fulfilling experience. But when you feel fear, doubt, or anger, it's a signal that you are moving away from your desired path and that you may have some limiting beliefs or misaligned intentions. Think of it like a navigation system. Your emotions are providing information on whether you are on the correct path, and when you learn to decipher those signals, you can use them to adjust your course accordingly. Instead of avoiding or suppressing your negative emotions, try to understand what they are telling you and use that information as a tool for self-discovery and growth. And in doing so, you create a harmonious relationship with your emotional landscape. Therefore, understanding your emotional guidance system allows you to navigate your reality with greater awareness and precision. So, how do we create intentions and take aligned action? Now, let's explore intention setting and action planning, the understanding that manifestation is not just about wishing, but also about taking clear aligned action steps to support your personal vision, because it's through the combination of clear intention and inspired action that you create a life that is in alignment with your desires. Start by defining your goals. Make sure you are crystal clear about what you want to achieve and that you connect with the emotional aspect of those desires so you can tap into the power behind them. Then, create an action plan. Break down your larger goals into smaller actionable steps and ensure that your actions are aligned with your intentions which will create a smooth process to your desired outcome. Think of it like building a house. You can have a great idea of what you want, but you still need the blueprint and the action plan to bring it into reality. And similarly, your intentions act as the blueprint, and your actions bring that blueprint to life. This is not just about taking random action, but about taking intentional action that is in harmony with your vision. Therefore, intention setting and action planning are essential for turning your desires into a tangible reality. So, how can we begin to use visualization to shape our future reality? And this brings us to the idea of visualization, the understanding that it's not just a passive practice, but rather a powerful tool to shape your future experiences, because it's in the vivid mental creation of your desired reality that you begin to manifest it into the physical world. It's through visualization that you create a detailed image of your desired outcome. You engage all of your senses and experience the scenario as if it is already happening, which creates a powerful imprint in your subconscious, and it also prepares you to be in that reality. You must not just see it, but feel it, taste it, smell it, and hear it as vividly as possible. As the more senses you engage, the more impactful your visualization will become. Think of an architect who envisions a building before it exists. It is through their detailed visualization that the blueprint of the structure is created. And similarly, your visualization acts as the blueprint for your future reality. This is not just about daydreaming. It is a powerful practice that actively shapes your life and allows you to bring your dreams into fruition. Therefore, visualization is a tangible skill you can cultivate, and through it you shape your future experience. So, now that you understand the personal mechanics, how does this apply to the collective? Now, let's explore the call to co-creation, the understanding that you are not just a creator of your personal reality, but also a co-creator of the collective experience, because it's through stepping into this role that you begin to shape a more conscious world. You are not merely a passive observer, but an active participant in the unfolding of life, and your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions all have a ripple effect on the world around you. You are not a separate entity, but rather an integral part of a collective consciousness, and when you choose to create with intention and awareness, you contribute to a more harmonious and balanced reality for everyone. Your individual transformation is not just for yourself, but rather, it is an essential piece of the larger collective shift in consciousness, which is the next stage of human evolution. When more individuals awaken to their creative power, that they create a more powerful and harmonious world that is full of growth, joy, and understanding. Therefore, stepping into the role of a conscious co-creator is essential to creating a better future for all. So, how does the collective power shift through an awakened consciousness? And this brings us to the collective power of awakened consciousness, understanding that when individuals awaken to their true potential, the power of the collective consciousness is amplified, creating a more powerful and profound shift in the world around you, because it is when many people understand their power that they create a ripple effect that is felt around the world. Each individual carries a unique piece of this larger tapestry of consciousness, and when they awaken to their power, they add their unique frequencies to the collective, creating a more powerful and harmonious whole. Think of an orchestra. When each instrument is playing in tune, that it creates a harmonious piece, and similarly, when each individual is aligned with their true potential, that they create a more harmonious world. When more people understand that their thoughts, feelings, and actions have an impact on the collective, that they begin to make more conscious choices that create a better future for everyone. Therefore, the awakening of each individual is not only for themselves, but is an essential piece of the collective shift in consciousness. So, how do we live with intention and purpose? Now, let's explore living from a place of intention and purpose, understanding that it's not just about following the automatic patterns of life, but rather about choosing to live each moment with conscious awareness, and by aligning with your values, that you create a more meaningful experience for yourself and for the world around you. It's not just about going through the motions, but about choosing to be guided by your inner compass, that you consciously choose the thoughts, emotions, and actions that you believe will contribute to your experience and to the collective. This allows you to shift from a passive participant to an active co-creator of your life, and to move from a place of reactivity to a place of conscious choice. The path of conscious living is not about following external rules, but about aligning with your authentic self, and that through this alignment, you create a more meaningful life. Therefore, when you live with intention and purpose, you not only shape your own experience, but you also create a more positive impact on the world. So, how can we invite others to a better future? And this brings us to the final invitation, the call to action, and the understanding that you have the power to create a more compassionate and harmonious world for all, because it is in your role as a conscious creator that you help to create a brighter future. This is not just a personal journey, but rather it's a collective one that requires your participation, your intention, and your commitment to creating a better world for all. The understanding that this is not a passive path, but rather it is an active commitment to consciously choose your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, and to create the experience that you want for yourself and the collective. It is an invitation to embrace your full potential, to let go of your limiting beliefs, and to step into the role of a conscious co-creator of life, so that together we create a more harmonious and compassionate world. Therefore, by stepping into the role of a conscious creator, that you not only transform your life, but you contribute to the transformation of the world. So, as we bring our exploration to its culmination, it becomes clear that your beliefs, intentions, emotions, and attention are not simply abstract ideas, but rather they are the very tools with which you sculpt your reality. The truth is, these elements are not separate entities working in isolation, but rather they are interwoven threads in the tapestry of your existence, each one influencing the other in a delicate dance of creation. And it is through the conscious understanding of this interconnectedness that you take your seat as the master weaver of your own destiny. The power has always been within you, and it's in this active awareness that you begin to understand that you are not simply a passive recipient of life, but rather an active participant with the capacity to choose which threads are woven, which colors are amplified, and which patterns become the beautiful and unique masterpiece of your life's experience. This synthesis is not just a recap, but rather a recognition of the profound power that is now within your grasp. And with this understanding, we can now return to the concept of the chosen one. And it is through this new lens that you now see it not as a select few who possess extraordinary gifts, but rather it is a title that you now embody as you awaken to your own inherent ability to shape your reality. It is not about being chosen by some external force, but rather it's about choosing to awaken to your own power, and it's in this conscious decision that you transform from observer to active creator. The truth is, the power has always been within you, and it is through embracing this understanding that you step into your role of self-mastery, and you become the embodiment of the chosen one. This isn't just a concept for some ancient mystic or spiritual teacher, but rather it's the reality that each individual has the potential to access. By understanding and applying these principles, you are not just a passive observer, but a co-creator with the capacity to shape your experience. This is a transition from seeing yourself as someone who is separate from power to one that embodies the role. And as we explore this newfound level of understanding, the idea of a fixed reality begins to dissolve. And it's through this dissolution that you begin to see that your world isn't a concrete or unchangeable structure, but rather it is a fluid and malleable experience that is constantly being shaped by your perceptions and consciousness. It's not about being at the whim of external forces, but rather it's about understanding that the very fabric of reality is responsive to your intentions, emotions, and attention. This is a world that is not just something to be endured, but something that is in a constant state of creation and change. And the truth is that you are not a victim of this world. You are the artist constantly painting on the canvas of your own life. By consciously choosing your thoughts, your emotions, and your intentions, that you are actively shifting your perception of reality, and therefore changing the very experience of your life. This is the key to unlocking your true creative potential, where you begin to see that your reality is as flexible and moldable as a dream, and that you are the dreamer with the power to shape it all. And with this, it's not about being a victim of your circumstances anymore, but rather, it's about embracing your role as the empowered creator of your reality. And it's in this conscious shift in perspective that you recognize that you are not at the mercy of external forces, but rather, you are the pilot of your own life. You are the one choosing the direction, you are the one choosing the speed, and you are the one choosing the destination. It's no longer about being at the mercy of fate or chance, but rather, it's about understanding that your life is a reflection of your inner world. It's not about giving up your power to external forces or circumstances, but rather, it's about owning your power and understanding that you have the capacity to create a fulfilling and beautiful experience. This transition is about taking the reins of your own life and confidently navigating your way towards the experience that resonates with your authentic self. And when you choose to take responsibility for your inner state, you take the keys to the ship of your own life, and you become the master of your own destiny. And as we expand our understanding beyond the personal, we begin to see that each individual's journey of conscious creation also contributes to the collective awakening, and that your personal transformation has a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own individual life. You are not just an isolated wave in the ocean, but rather, you are a unique part of a larger sea of consciousness, and your choices, your actions, and your intentions all contribute to the overall experience. It is through the collective awakening of each individual that we move towards a higher level of understanding, and it is through each unique action that we begin to create a world that is rooted in compassion, love, and conscious creation. You are not just an isolated being, but rather you are a part of a larger tapestry, and it is through each unique piece that we create something beautiful and profound. The responsibility, therefore, is not just a personal one, but also a collective one, and your actions not only contribute to your own reality, but also contribute to the reality of everyone else. And with this profound understanding, the meaning of life begins to shift, and it's not about simply surviving or following predetermined paths, but rather, it becomes a conscious act of creation, a continuous process of intentionally shaping your experiences in a way that aligns with your values and your true desires. This is not just about waiting for life to happen to you, but rather, it's about consciously choosing the experiences you wish to embody, and it is in the process of co-creation that you begin to find your true sense of purpose. Your life is not just a series of random events, but rather, it is an opportunity for constant growth, for expansion, and for the full expression of your unique gifts. And in this journey of conscious creation, you discover that the true meaning of life is not something that is given to you, but rather, it's something that is continuously created by your choices, your actions, and your intent. Your life is a canvas, and it's up to you to decide what to paint on it. And as you embark on this new journey, it's clear that the implications of conscious creation extend far beyond the material realm. And it's through this path of self-mastery that you begin to unlock the deepest potential for personal growth and fulfillment. It is not just about changing the circumstances of your life, but also about transforming your inner experience. And as you align with these principles, that you begin to cultivate a sense of authenticity, integrity, and inner peace that radiates from within you. The understanding here is that external fulfillment is only the byproduct of inner harmony. And as you continue to master your inner world, that you not only create a more fulfilling experience for yourself, but you also contribute to the collective experience. The power to create is not something that only transforms the world, but also transforms the being, and it's in this integration of self-mastery that you find true and everlasting fulfillment. The journey, then, is not just about shaping your outer world, but shaping the inner one as well. And as we acknowledge this profound understanding, we must also acknowledge the ethical responsibility that accompanies this conscious power, and the understanding that this capacity for creation is not just a personal privilege, but rather a responsibility to use our power wisely, with integrity and with love, and not only to benefit ourselves, but also to contribute to the greater good. Think of yourself as a gardener caring for a garden. You would tend to the soil, nourish the plants, and protect it from harm. And similarly, you must care for your inner world and ensure that you are contributing to a positive experience for the collective. This power is not something to be taken lightly, but rather it is to be embraced with a deep sense of integrity and responsibility. And as you step into your role as a conscious creator, it becomes your duty to use your power in a way that creates a better world for all. It's not enough to just create for yourself. You must also be a conscious creator of the collective. And now, as we bring these ideas into harmony, it becomes clear that the power of belief, the nature of intention, the role of emotions, the influence of the subconscious, and the focus of attention are all interconnected and working together, and not in isolation. It's through the understanding of this unified system that you gain greater clarity of your creative potential. The truth is, these elements are not separate, but rather, they are all interwoven and working together in a dance of creation. And it's in the orchestration of all of these elements that you create a harmonious experience. You are not just a sum of separate parts, but rather, you are a unified whole. And it is when you begin to recognize how these elements work in synergy that you unlock the full potential of your creative ability. It is through the integration of all these elements that the path of conscious creation becomes clearer and more accessible. This isn't just a collection of ideas, but a unified understanding of creation. And with this, the pattern that your inner world is reflected in your outer experience becomes clear. And it's not just a philosophical idea, but rather, it's a tangible truth that manifests in every aspect of your life. The external world is simply a mirror of your inner world, and when you consciously choose to shift your inner state, you create a ripple effect that transforms your experiences. It's not about changing the external to find inner peace, but rather, it's about shifting your inner world that then transforms your outer reality. You have the power to shape your experience and to create a life that is aligned with your values, your desires, and your potential. Therefore, the understanding that your external world is merely a reflection of your internal world allows you to access the power of self-mastery and the ability to shape your reality from the inside out. This is the culmination of the inner and the outer. And as we resolve the questions and the mysteries that we introduced at the beginning of this journey, it becomes clear that the power of conscious creation is not some hidden secret, but rather, it's an innate capacity that has always been within you, and it is in the understanding of these core principles that the veil of mystery is lifted, and what was once hidden is now unveiled. The answers have always been within you, and it is through the application of this wisdom that you begin to see the world with new eyes. This isn't just about knowing, but about understanding, and it's through the active application of this understanding that you begin to step into the role of a conscious creator. The mysteries are no longer mysteries, and the questions have now been answered, and it's through this process that we have expanded our understanding of reality creation. The questions that once held a veil of mystery now have a clear and concise answer. And finally, as we come to the culmination of this journey, it's not about being bound by limiting beliefs anymore, but rather, it's about stepping into the full awareness of your creative power and the understanding that you are not a victim of fate, but rather, you are the architect of your destiny. The feeling now is no longer one of tension and confusion, but rather, it is a feeling of freedom and empowerment, and the realization that the tools to create a life of your dreams have always been within you, and you now have the knowledge and the understanding to use them to their full potential. The idea here is to feel the release, the empowerment, the potential for creation that was held in the beginning, and to step into the world as a powerful conscious creator. This is not just an ending, but rather, it's a new beginning, where you step into the world with the understanding of your own limitless potential. It's about freedom, it's about empowerment, and it's about stepping into your truth. And as we reach the end of our exploration, it's not about coming to a standstill, but rather, it's about opening the door to a new and exciting journey of self-discovery. And so I ask you, what will you create next? What will your life look like when you are fully aligned with your authentic self? These questions are not meant to be answered today, but rather, they are designed to spark your curiosity and to inspire you to continue to explore, to grow, and to create the life of your dreams. The journey of conscious creation never truly ends, but it is a continuous process of expansion and evolution, and you are only just beginning to tap into the endless possibilities that lie ahead. It is through this continuous cycle that you move towards higher levels of awareness, and you become a living testament to the potential of human consciousness. This is not an end, but rather a beginning. And as we move beyond the personal, it's clear that this journey of conscious creation has the potential to not only transform your life, but also to contribute to a positive and profound global shift. And when we all begin to embrace this understanding, that we become the catalysts for a more harmonious and compassionate world. Your actions, your choices, and your intentions all have a ripple effect that extends far beyond your personal life. And when you choose to create with love, compassion, and awareness, you are contributing to a better future for all. This is not just about individual transformation, but rather, it's about collective evolution. We are all interconnected, and as we move forward with a higher level of understanding, that we begin to create a world that is truly worthy of our potential. It's not just about what we create for ourselves, but what we create for everyone. And with this understanding, it's no longer about being isolated in your own journey, but rather, it's about connecting with a larger community of conscious creators. And when you begin to share your insights, your experiences, and your questions, that you become part of a growing movement of people who are dedicated to creating a better world. Together, we can amplify our collective potential, and when we share with each other, we create a space for mutual growth and support. This isn't just a journey you take alone, it is one you take together. Engage with the content, share with others, and create a community where ideas can be explored, where insights can be shared, and where we can all grow together as we actively participate in co-creating a brighter future for all. This is the path of community, the path of sharing, the path of collective growth. And finally, as we conclude our exploration, it's not about the end of the journey, but rather about the beginning of a new chapter. And I encourage you to continue to seek knowledge, to explore your own potential, and to never stop growing, and that there are endless resources and tools that are available to support you along the way. There are countless books, teachings, and communities that can help you expand your knowledge, and it's in the active pursuit of that understanding that you will continue to step into your role as a conscious creator, and that this is not the final word, but rather, it is the invitation to continue to explore, to evolve, and to shape a world that resonates with your truest desires. So remember that this is not an end, but rather, it's the beginning.